Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. We got our stream up and going. Let's go ahead and empty out this trash can here. There we go. Clean everything up. And what we are going to do today is we're going to try and figure out how to get this Substance Painter workflow going. Something I bumped into in a previous stream, and I really was interested in kind of figuring out how to get that to work. So let's see what we can do. I believe I keep it under, what was it, for fun? Lantern, here it is. Octane test. Let's see if we can get this working. Fingers crossed on this, that's for sure. But it should work. I'm pretty hopeful. Pretty hopeful indeed. We will see how this goes. This one. It always takes a little bit to boot up Octane on the 4D. Get all those plugins working. Here we go. So this is where we left off on a previous video. So similar concept right here is what we're doing. We're trying to rework the nodes, and it should be pretty straightforward, really. All we have to do is we have to take the node setup that's already going for the base of this material here. So what I want to do is I want to take this node setup and I want to simplify it. So this is a typical Substance Painter workflow with Octane render node setup. So basically what you do is you export out these 4 different mats. Now you can export out 4 different materials, but particularly, or bitmaps. These are the 4 bitmaps you want to export. You want to export out a metallic, you want to export out a roughness, and then you want to export out a base color. And then of course you always export out a normal. And this will basically, combined into this system, will give you the perfect rendered output for whatever you painted up in Substance Painter. So it works really friggin' well, and it looks gorgeous when you port this in. Like, it looks just like it did in Substance Painter, which is awesome. The hard part is, as you can see here with the lantern, everything looks really good, everything looks nice, everything's super pretty. It came over just like it should have from Substance Painter. Sorry about that, I had to cough quick. But basically the problem with this issue is you'll notice that it's a complicated kind of setup. It's not super complicated, but it's annoying when you're trying to just go through. And even though the only process you have to really worry about is just replacing each of these maps every time, when you save this setup and actually try and throw this in to a save and you export it back out, we have an issue. So what is the issue? Let's go ahead and just demonstrate the problem real quick. Say I want to save this as material, Substance Painter preset. Let's just call this SP preset. Let's just call this a Substance Painter preset. Let's see what happens when we save this. If we go to Materials, Octane Live DB, and from here we're going to go ahead and go to Local DB, and we'll give this a save. So here's my Local DB. I'm going to drag this into here. Should save it. Lo and behold, it did. Here's an old one that I had from before. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. Delete user material. Yes, I'm sure. And here we go. So we can right click. We can do this. We'll do download. And as soon as the download is complete, we'll get all 3 materials that make up the Substance Painter asset. Now it's going to take a little bit to load in. Always has a little bit of a process to it. Where's it going? Come on. Come on. It's coming. I'm going to grab a drink of water. Good H2O. Okay, what is it doing? Seems to have froze up. That's okay. It's doing a big bunch of processing. It is Octane render, so we are going to have little hiccups every now and again, but it should go through any minute now. But how is everybody doing today? How is everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. At least I think it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yep, it's Wednesday. I was right. I'm not off on the date. Definitely interesting. Okay, so looks like it has frozen up on me. That is a bummer. Okay, quick tip on that. Control Alt Delete. Go to your task manager. Why is OBS using so much of my GPU right now? It's really strange. It's really unusual. It's highly unusual, actually. It never normally uses this much. It's sporadic on that. Apparently YouTube's using up a large amount as well. It's because I'm using such a high resolution. Oh, okay, that's going to help a lot. Yeah, it's unusual. Cinema 4D is just chugging down a ton of RAM, so we're just going to go ahead and kill that. Luckily, I know where everything's at now, though, so I just go back to video, John's projects, for fun. Where's that lantern project? Test. So that should do that for us. So we'll boot this back up. Should go a lot quicker this time, so we don't have to worry about that. And any minute now, it should just pull open, and it did. Very good. And now we can actually go ahead and save ourselves a bunch of time. I've already saved that material, so I can just go ahead and go to Materials, LiveDB, and then just pull that out of that setup right there. So that's going to make things a lot easier for us. Lo and behold, here it is. I can select that. And I'll go ahead and just pull this out from the list. Go ahead and raise this back up. Right-click, click Download, and it should start the download process. Yep, it is. And it should give us a little bit of a heads up here. It normally does. Okay, this is loading in. This is much better. So if I go ahead and open it up, the material, you're going to see the issue that I was talking about. It just spews everything everywhere, and it creates duplicates. So we're actually going to get 2 normal maps, 2 diffuse colors, everything. So this is not something I can easily save and pull out, right? This is kind of an annoying system. It just does not work very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire setup and I'm going to pull it over into something called a blend material, which is a new Octane material that is far, far superior. Well, that's kind of debatable. It's better, in my opinion. It's a better material than the mix material. It's just for different scenarios. Like a blend material is something that's going to let you blend multiple materials in one. So instead of having like 2 materials mixed into a mixed material and then just mix within a mix within a mix, you just keep all that under one single material. So the way we're going to do this is I'm just going to keep this open. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a new material. So we're just going to go to Materials, Octane blend material. We're going to open up our blend material, and I'm going to set this to 2 ports, and we're going to simply recreate our other materials through this blend material. So I'm going to go ahead and set this number of materials to 2. And for material 1, we're going to create this, and it's going to be called a glossy. So this is going to be a glossy material. It's already set up. And then we can hop over to this other material that we have down here, and this will give us this node editor set up here, and I can go ahead and copy this exact setup and slowly pull over this entire preset build here. Now, I want to point out, I did not create this node setup. This was something that was made by another very smart person who figured out the Substance Painter to Cinema 4D algorithm, or Cinema 4D Octane render, I should say. And this is just me going through and reworking this setup. So I'm trying to make it simpler and a little bit better. It's not that he didn't do a good job, whoever made this. It's just that when he made it, the blend material did not exist, so he worked with the best way he could. So now I'm trying to update this a little bit to a better system that now exists. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we can start by just copying this mixed texture and fall off right here, and we're going to go ahead and pop this over. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down, and we can go ahead and select our blend material. And I'm going to go ahead, actually, the first thing we need to do is we need to copy the name. So we'll call this the metallic part. So just go to basic, we'll copy the name here. We're going to hop over here, select this material, we'll call this metallic part. We'll hop back over here to our mixed material, and through here, then I'm going to copy these nodes, and these plug directly into the specular part, which are running through the diffuse, which is interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead, Control-C, copy this, hop over to our blend, go right here, paste this in, grab both of these, run these down here, plug this into the specular, and now that's set up, and I can go back over here. I'm going to grab this multiply, copy him, head back over here, paste the multiply, and just set this up, and this multiply, I think, went into the roughness. I'm fairly certain, yes, the multiply did go in the roughness. Next up, we need to take another multiply, yeah, and that's basically it for this original material. So now I'm going to head back over there and create another material, and that's going to be the dielectric part. So it's 2 materials blended into one. Welcome to the chat. Hey, nice tuts. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome to the chat. Really glad to have you here. So what we're going to do now is, now that I have translation on Twitch. I don't know if Twitch does translation. YouTube may have translation. I don't know if it'll translate it live or not, though. I'm not sure if it'll do that. But what we're going to do right now is, oh, I will point out, is it will be translated. This stream will be saved. Once it's done, it'll be saved, and you can watch it that way. But what was I doing? Oh, I got distracted. We need to rename this the dielectric part. So we'll go back over here. We're going to create another material within our Octane blend. We're going to go to mat 2. So we have two parts. We have basic. I said number of materials 2. I have material 1 and material 2. So for material 2, I created this. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is an Octane glossy, which it is. It's correct. I'm going to paste in that name. So now we have this nice and organized. So for over here, let's go ahead and take this whole complicated set of nodes. It's really not too much. It's just a bunch of float textures on Rgb Spectrum mixed together with some gradients and a fall off with an invert node that is pumped all together with our roughness. And this together is able to work out the proper roughness value that Substance Painter would port over. So somebody went through and had all the float textures set to the proper value for different ports. So this should be 0, this should be 0.08, etc., and everything is calculated out correctly to give us good results. So let's go ahead, take all this. I'm going to do Control C, and all this simply pumps into the specular. So we're going to go ahead and hop back over into here. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. Let's go ahead and select all of these, pump this node into specular. And then we're going to hop back over, and the first thing I need to do now is I'm going to head over to our mix, and I'm going to read off and memorize the values that we have here in our first batch. So metallic, we have roughness should be defined by roughness. It's very important that our index value is 1, so I'm going to hop back over here, and both of them should have an index value of 1. So this is very important. Our fall off is not going to be generated by the index value here. Our fall off is going to be generated by the fall off node up here. So that's an interesting way that they're doing this, and that's the way they have to do it, basically because they're trying to mix different textures together. So instead of simply running your fall off through just pure specular or something, they have to do some adjustments with the specular and such, and they have to have different fall off values for different multiplications. For example, this specular input from this particular map is going to be mixed with a multiply on an Rgb spectrum and then have a fall off judge that amount. So we're having a little bit more control here by having the fall off on that particular setup instead of having whatever this is set to. See, our image texture here is not going to get a fall off that's running through here because that's running into specular, but the input that we have here from these colors, the float and our Rgb spectrum, are getting a fall off. So we have more control again on that right there. What year? I'm sorry, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. I might be incorrect. I'm not sure how well the translation goes through on YouTube. But let me know if I misunderstood what you meant. Let's see. So now that we have this set up right here, what we need to do now is I have both index set to 1. I just want to check roughness. Film width should be good. I think I'm going to leave everything as is. Anisotrophy, can leave all that. I'm going to go ahead and grab this multiply, copy that, and go ahead and pump that into the roughness over here. So that should be for this base. We'll take this, we'll pump this into roughness, and quite honestly, I think I can reorganize this. Yeah, I think I probably could. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that multiply up there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these. Yeah, why does this transform need to be here? Is this the same value? Yeah, let's simplify this even further. We'll remove this transform, plug this transform into here. So now we have all these nodes. Let's take all these, Control C, hop over here, and paste them all into a single node. Or not a single node, but the transform is now a single node. And now we have all these in here. So we just need to connect these Substance Painter outputs into these ports, and in theory, this should connect up. So let's go ahead and start with our, I believe this is our metallic. Yeah, it's our metallic. So I'll take our metallic, and I'm going to plug this into a mount 2 over here. And let's just go ahead and reorganize our setup. Let's pull this down a little bit. We're going to have this kind of lifted up. Let's just go ahead and recenter our nodes. I'm going to pull this up a little bit here so we can just focus on these points. The normal map should, if I hop back over here, looks like the normal is just going to plug into the normal on both of them. There's nothing special about him, so we can go ahead and set him up way easier. Let's go ahead and hop over here. I'm going to do Control S to save because I don't want to lose everything we just did. So we'll go ahead and take our normal and just drop that normal into both ports. There's nothing special about normal. It's just simply a normal map that plugs right in there. Next up, underneath our mix, we need to now get set up for the first multiply running into the roughness, which is just going to be a double input from our image texture, our roughness image texture right here. So let's go ahead and take our roughness, which is up here, I believe. Yes, it is. I'm going to double input this into the multiply. So 1 and 2. There we go. That's doing a little bit better. Next up, let's go ahead and hop over here and do a double input for... Where's our other roughness? Oh, here's our other multiply. This multiply is basically the same thing. Okay, and then we're also going to take the roughness and plug that into the invert. So what are we going to do? We're going to take this roughness, plug this into the multiply, and this, whoops, grab that and plug that into the multiply. Oh, I mean, is this video on Twitch? I have not seen your videos where either except YouTube. I'm afraid I do not stream to Twitch. I only stream to YouTube at the moment. I do have a Twitch channel, but it is only for gaming. So I don't really stream consistently to Twitch. Mostly I stream only to YouTube just because YouTube saves my videos once they're done so people can rewatch them. And I have a bigger following on YouTube, so it just kind of makes more sense to stream to YouTube. It tends to get a lot more viewers. But that said, I could consider streaming to Twitch. Maybe that'd be something worth doing. But now that we have this input in, I'm going to go ahead and take our roughness, and I believe we also should port this into our invert node down here. And I think that's where it's supposed to go. Invert, follow the cable, yes. So now for our normal's correct. Now for this, I need to plug our diffuse into just the diffuse and then into this mix texture. So that should be simple enough. So we'll go ahead and take our diffuse, should be this one right here, plug this into texture 1, and we'll take our diffuse and plug this into the diffuse slot. Next up, I think we are really close right now. We just simply need to plug in, actually, I think we might actually have this set up. It may be actually done. I think we have everything where it should go. Let's go ahead and do a quick save, and I think we're ready for our first trial. So now let's go ahead and give this a shot and see what breaks. So what we need to do is we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to take this material, I'm going to select my base for my base right here, and I'm going to replace this material with this material. We're going to go ahead, do a save, and we're going to go ahead and hit render, and we're going to see what's broken. We're going to see what's not working with this workflow, and I might have to go in and tweak a few settings. So far, we're having a big problem where the color is not importing over, and that is an interesting issue. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. There's tons of reasons, actually. Is this the right position? There we go. So the normal map is porting over, but the color is not. Now, why would the color not be porting over? We got a diffuse. I'm pumping this down to diffuse. I'm pumping this into specular. What's this over here? There's nothing in diffuse there. There's nothing in specular there. Specular. Oh, my goodness. I know what's wrong. I need to take the diffuse for this one, take my diffuse color, and set... Well, no, that's correct. Okay, the diffuse is pure black. Yeah, diffuse should be pure black, which is good. And the diffuse for this one should also be pure black, and that'll just run under there. I'm not exactly sure where this white color is coming from. That is an interesting setup, and the gamma has been adjusted for each image to correctly pull that in. Fall off map, basic. It's really close. I don't know why. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at this one. It's so close. Oh, shoot, I was looking at the wrong materials. Yeah, our diffuse up here needs to be set to pure black, which, okay, good. That is pulling that over very nicely. So we got that set up right there. We have our diffuse pulling over very nicely, and right off the bat, we're seeing some connection issues. Oops, I need to back this up. We're seeing some issues here. We're seeing reflections and stuff just not looking like this one. Because, again, this is what we're after. Let's let this material load in. This is the effect. Now see how well this translates over. It's not super too glossy. Everything is kind of just fitting over and running correctly. Not so with the other system. So let's go ahead and remove that. Let's see. Let's see. How is this going to work? What could be causing this issue? We'll see how that inputs. Basically, what I'm guessing is our metallic has got to be being misread. So there's something in here. Let's just go ahead and step through this one by one. So we need our diffuse pure black. That's going to be image texture, anisotrophic. Sheen should be 0.2. That's a very big one. I'm going to make sure I have that set up correctly. So for the first one, we need to make sure our sheen is set to 0.2. Okay, that's good. That's really good. Sheen roughness is 0.2. Film width doesn't seem to have an effect. Film index, normal, bump, opacity, common. It's set to smooth. Index is 1. Seems to be pretty good with this one. I'm not seeing much of an issue here. Our material type is glossy. It is set to Octane. Material type, glossy, Octane. I'm thinking it's an issue with the second guy. That is probably what's going on here. So let's go ahead and select this one. Layer base 1. I'm thinking it's got to be something in here. So let's go ahead and take a look at diffuse. That's an image, specular image, roughness image. Good, sheen, film width, film index. Aha. Film index on here, excuse me, had to cough, is 0.5. So I'm wondering, why would film index be 0.5 on here? That is something interesting. So let's go ahead and check our index out, and there is no film index. So this is a limitation of the blend material. So this is something that I was afraid of. What are we going to run into that's going to cause our blend material to not function? Like the mix material. So that is a limitation of that. Now, that said, that shouldn't really be a problem because film index should not be an issue. If I set this to any value, it's not going to affect our render. It shouldn't really affect it at all, actually. So we're going to go ahead and update this on top of each other. This looks great. Again, film index is not doing anything. Because film index, I don't have my film width set, so our film index isn't going to be showing up. Yeah, there's no effect on this. So 1.5 has no effect. So I'm not really worried about that. So again, this shouldn't be causing an effect whatsoever. So there's something in here that is causing this material to not render properly. Now, what could that be? It's something about it being just a little too shiny. Something about how the roughness is being calculated. I almost wonder if I don't have them ported over correctly. There's something in this system. Something didn't get calculated over right. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Something with the roughness. So let's go ahead and bounce this around a little bit. We have 2 multiplies, 2 roughnesses, and actually, I'm just going to say for the heck of it, why are we even bothering with 2 multiplies, both doing the exact same thing, running into the exact same port? This is a duplicate. We don't have to worry about him. We'll delete him. We'll go ahead and pump him into roughness. Now for a multiply, we're good. It's good calculation there. That's our mix. If I go back over here, I grab my roughness. We got a good calculation on that, good on that, good on that. Let's make sure our transform, everything is good on our transform. I'll hop over to the mix right here, check our transform. Everything is good, nice and happy. I'm going to make sure our fall off values are correct. So we're looking at 0.01, yeah, and 5.5, 0.01 and 5.5. So for that, 0.01, 5.5, our floats are looking good. Rgb Spectrum should be pure white, which it is. Great, it's running into a multiply followed by the invert for the specular. That is something that could be causing an issue. How is this being blended together through our gamma 1.1, et cetera, et cetera? Let's hop back over here, gamma 1.1. Let's hop back up into here, and our gamma is 1. Okay, so, I mean, this is all technically porting over well. It's just that the colors are not, it's just a little too shiny. For some reason, the blend material is not blending it. It's got to be a different algorithm it's running under, because for some reason, I'm just going to go ahead and hide everything here, and we're going to just compare these side by side. So let's take our base, go ahead and copy this over, and we're going to have two of them. We're going to have the base 1, and we're going to have base 2, and something is wrong with this right here. So let's go ahead and pull this over. There we go. It's updated. And what I'm seeing is the issue, or actually, let's take base 1, take its coordinates, zero that out over here, and pull it over here. So we have, this will be the old one. So let's take the old texture, slap that on there. So this is the old mix texture, and that's the new mix texture. And already what we can see is a big thing is the roughness is just a lot better on here. It's a lot more rough and a little less metallic. So there's a more metallic look being provided by the blend for some reason. THRL, welcome. He says hello. Thank you for joining the stream. Glad to have you here. But I'm thinking we're getting an issue with our glossy somehow. So it's definitely a roughness issue. And I'm seeing, okay, there should be, yeah, okay, what do we got? We have 3 inputs. This one can be deleted and combined to a single roughness channel, which would be great. So now I have 2 inputs. I have here and I have here. And if I complete this with the mix, the correct one, it seems to be running under a similar system. 2 inputs, so that's great. Our multiply output looks good, so we can go ahead and simulate that over here. How is this looking here? It looks good. I don't really see any trouble with that. That's unusual. Our multiply on here looks great. Roughness is going in good. It's a calculation error somewhere through here. Multiply looks great on here. That looks good. Rgb Spectrum here. This could be a big issue. What's our fall off? 0, 1, and 8. 0, 1, and 8. Let's go ahead and check that one out. 0, 1, 8. Rgb Spectrum's 95%. Our diffuse doesn't seem to be kind of pulling anything over extra special. So that's all good. The diffuse should be pure black. It is. Specular should be 100%. We have a specular map running into that, running through that invert. I was the real last time. Just changed my name to a less, less profane. Oh, well, hey, Thuriel, welcome back. Glad to have you here. MB, this is spec. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Oh, what is my specs? My computer specs are, let's see, I have a 980 Ti and a 970, just 2 graphic cards running here on my computer. And for my CPU, I am running an AMD Ryzen 1700X. So 8 cores, 16 threads. So nothing super special going on. But I'm pretty happy with my build. It's doing decent. Decent enough for now anyway. What could be causing this reflection issue? We're definitely apparently looking at a roughness. That is totally what I'm feeling it is. I'm feeling pretty certain it's a roughness issue. So for the heck of it, let's just go and do I already have my node editor open? I think I do. Oops. Yeah, here it is. Let's go ahead for this material. And man, I'm going to set our gamma to 1. No, 2.2. Let's just crank it up and see what we get out of this. So 2.2 is way too high. Let's go ahead and drop this down to 0.2. Okay, that's closer. That's a lot closer. Let's drop this down to 0.1. That's even closer yet. So this is strange. Now we're getting a similar roughness effect, but now this metallic effect is really pulling over quite strong. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that to back to 7.63. Set our index value to 1. Both of them have an index value of 1. Opacity should be fine. Displacement should be off. Normal is good. Sheen is correct. Index is 1. Index is 1. The only thing that I could be thinking it could possibly be is underneath our sheen. I don't have a float value pumped in here. So, film width. We do have film width, but we don't have a film index. I almost wonder. Our sheen, I could pump up a float on our sheen. I don't think this is going to have much of an effect. No, it's really not. I don't see too much going on here. It seems to just be pumping in way too metallic-like, and I'm not exactly sure why it's so dang metallic. The normal map seems to be porting over. Hold the phone. I wonder what this is. Is this supposed to import the normal at a gamma of 1? Okay, yeah, apparently it is. So we're good with that. 2.2 on the color. Let's go ahead and see what we got over here. 2.2 on the color, gamma 1. That's all correct. Boy, this is so unusual. So if I can get this figured out, though, to work, that would be really nice. It's porting over relatively correctly. It's just our fall off is not looking correct. It's way too metallic. So I'm thinking this has got to be an issue with, what do we got? We're going from this one. What are we missing? What are we missing? We have normal roughness, specular, diffuse, and then normal roughness, specular. Let's see if we go over here. Normal roughness, specular, diffuse, normal roughness, specular. Film index can only affect on specular mats, at least only there you can see what it does. Oh, okay. That's a really good point. Yeah, that is a really good point. So that's probably not really having an effect on here. Film index is 1.45 on, but it is 1.5 on this one, which is the weirdest thing. So film index, yeah, and then again, that doesn't have an effect on that. And this is a glossy, right? Glossy octane, correct, proper BRDF model. I'm going to unplug this for the heck of it and replug it back in for the amount. And that should, unless under the basic, yeah, material 1, material 2, displacement, editor, animate preview off. Boy, this is such an interesting issue. What I'm going to go ahead and say is it's something with our, it's got to be something with our glossy mix. So I'm going to go ahead and just try messing around with the gamma on this. Let's go ahead and set this to 2.2. Not good. We'll drop this down to the bottom. That's not good enough either. Pull this up. And we're going pretty intense with that. Drop it down. Let's go ahead and undo that back to the 1. That doesn't seem to be having an effect for us. Boy, what could be breaking this? Thinking a 1, a 0, and a 0.08. Everything seems to have copied over correctly. Yeah, I'm wondering if this invert node is breaking it. I almost wonder. I'm going to try fixing. Let's bypass the invert nodes directly into the texture here. Okay, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a high metallic, like almost like a car. Okay, the issue's not with the roughness. The issue's with the specular. So how are we going to solve this? So it's something with our specular input. So our specular is running through the multiply here. Great. And we have another specular that's running through this mix up here through that Rgb spectrum. So what do we got? A 2.2 on gamma up here. And we got a 2.2 gamma on that one there as well with a power of 1. And another power of 1. The fall off is looking good. Fall off direction. Everything should be a pure duplicate. Actually, invert nodes inside of Octane do not invert 100% correctly. Welcome, MNIB. Hey, man, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. That is a good point. That could be that the invert node is bugging out, because sometimes they do have errors. Oh, there is a workaround. Okay, sweet. What's the workaround that you'd recommend for this? Assuming that, I'm guessing the invert node's the issue here. I'm wondering. That would make sense because right now, Raphael nailed a 1-to-1 with Substance and Octane. Yeah, there's a gamma difference. Okay, let me find something real quick. Okay, sweet. Yeah, Raphael Rayu did do a really great nail with a 1-to-1 Substance to Octane workflow, and I think I might be using his setup right here. And this is the setup he got, and it works really good. And this is the 1-to-1 ratio over here that looks great, and it's really nice setup, and this is what I've been using, and it really does bring everything over just like I wanted. The only problem is this is underneath a mixed material, and it's just two materials within one, and if I save this and pull it out, it duplicates all my nodes, and I have like 2 of every texture. So for consistently using that same system over and over, it's kind of a pain. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get everything to work underneath a blend material. So if I can get that same workflow to work correctly under a blend material, then basically what I'm going to have is just simply 4 materials that I simply have to, or image textures that I simply import, and boom, everything will just work perfectly. So everything is working okay right now. So this is the original under the mix material on the right, and then the new one under the blend is on the left. And right now we can already see that it's way more metallic looking. So that is something that we have to get figured out. He did that too. .com invert tech. I can't post a link here. Oh, I've been having trouble with that where links won't go through. Info.com/inverting textures Octane render C4D. Sweet. Thank you for the link. I'll copy that and paste that in. Let's see if I can do that. I'll do a web search. So we're gonna paste this in. We're gonna close that, and close this, and that should bring us into the right directory. Here we go. So image texture, invert. Okay. Interesting. Color correct, wrong, correct. Okay, so you run that through there instead of inverting the image on there, actually. Okay, I see. That makes sense. Try this one for the real invert stuff. Hope this helps. Awesome. Thank you, MNIB. Appreciate it. Diffuse gamma, specular matte 1, and diffuse matte 2. That's actually worth a shot. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try and adjust our gamma. So we're running the invert. This is the wrong. Don't do it that way. Original inverted. Before and after. Interesting. The solution. Correct, color correct, invert, color correct. Interesting. Original and then you inverted. Okay. You can, of course, override the default gamma. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, normal and normal for each matte. That's a good point. Let me check that out. I'm going to try that gamma real quick. So let's see. We have a gamma of 1 for our glossy. We have a gamma of 2.2 for the color, and a gamma of 1 for our normal, and a gamma of 0.763. So that's for the roughness. And the roughness does have an effect on our specular. So I'm going to go ahead and just say what would happen. It's something with our specular. Why would our specular be hitting such a high amount of color? Now, with this, what are we doing? We're getting our specular from here. It's running under a pure invert. And our specular is being determined by that. And under here, our basic, we have a glossy and then an octane. Metallic and a mix amount between each matte. Color correct node, gamma parameters set to 1, 222 equals 22. This will bring the image gamma to default 2.2. Excellent. Okay. 1, 2.2 equals 2. Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure. First matte GTX material node, second matte GTX index 1.5. That's a good idea. It could be a BRDF model issue. So let's see. We got BRDF. Both of these are over. There's some calculation issues got to be going on incorrectly. So you're recommending a GGX. So let's give that a shot for both of them. Let's set them both to GGX. And that's closer. That's very close. What if I selected both of these materials and just cycle through? So we got Octane. Oh, that's closer. GGX, Ward. Yeah. I'm almost wondering. GGX index 1.5. Boy, I almost wonder if it could be an index issue. What if I just up the index on this to something like 8? No, that's not really doing it there. That's tricky. That's very tricky. Set our back to Octane. That's so close. Oh yeah, BRDF. Good point. It's so confusing writing it like this. Sorry. Oh no, it's not your fault. It's not your fault, Bennett. This is a tricky situation. It's tricky getting this to work. There's definitely because basically what we have as a problem is this material set up here. This is correct. This works perfect. This is exactly what I'm happy with and wanting to go for. The problem is getting this system to translate over correctly with the new blend shader. So there's something different going on here. Something I'm missing. There's some parameter. Something is either incorrect or not being calculated for. And the only thing I can think of is for some reason our film is great. Anisotropy should be 0. Actually, that's a good point. Should it be 0? Hop back over to our mix. Anisotropy, where are you in this list? Anisotropy, 0, 0. Okay, so both are good. Both are at 0. Sheen. Sheen's a possible thing that could be off. I do know our Sheen. I almost wonder if Sheen is affecting this somehow. Oh, now I get it, LO. I was wondering why not just use a mixed material. Oh, yep, sorry. That's my bad. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, the whole reason I'm trying to run this instead of the mixed material is because I want it to all be under one single blend material. And my goal is if I can get this system under a single blend material, all you have to do is just download this single blend material, this one single material, pump in the 4 exports from Substance Painter into these 4 inputs, and boom, it'll just work. It'll be like the simplest workflow that I can think of. It's like literally you'll just bring in your blend material, slap that one material whenever you want, open up the node, put each material into these 4 slots, and you're good to go. So this would be the simplest Substance Painter to Octane workflow I can think of at the moment that could possibly work. Have you already tried plugging a float set to 0 into the Sheen channels? That's a good point. Oh shoot, that's a really good point actually. Let's give that a shot. I'm totally down for that. That sounds like a good idea. So put Sheen, both channels, set to 0. Let's see what we got. Ooh, that is close. What if I pump this up? Okay, hold it. That is very close. Okay, the Sheen is interesting. Okay, with Sheen off, do I have Sheen? Sheen should be set to 0. I'm pretty... Oh, hold it. Love the idea. Good stuff. Thank you, MNIB. Appreciate it. I think your YouTube liked that Imgur link, that Raphael's workflow. Yeah, that link, Raphael's workflow was really, really nice. Like, he had a really, really good setup. I'm pretty sure this is his setup here. I'm fairly certain. Roughness is at 0.02. Oh, that's a good point. Let's see. Okay. But roughness should be 0.02. Let's see. Specular roughness, good. Roughness for both. The diffuse. I wonder if it's an issue with my diffuse channel almost. I'm going to check that really quick. Raise this up. We have color being inputted. We take the color. We pull it down. We have the color being pushed in. Nice. Roughness should be set. Roughness, check. Sheen is set to 0. That's a correct value there. Check. And yeah, we'll try it. We could try. I mean the Sheen roughness. Oh, hold the phone. 0.2. Oh, that is close. The Sheen roughness. Okay, let's see. So if we have this, what am I seeing different here? I'm seeing a roughness difference, and I'm seeing a reflection difference. So I'm seeing a much higher level of reflection here and less roughness. So the roughness, and if I turn, yeah, the index value is very different on this. So it's a fall-off node to an effect. I'm imagining an extent. So in theory, it's a roughness issue. So if I take the Sheen and set this to 0, I should get rid of that, yeah. And then if I offset the gamma on my roughness, that should bring these closer. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Let's set our gamma to something like 2. Okay, too high. So let's go ahead and try set a lower value. Set a value of like 0.1. 0.1 is, did it freeze up? Nope, it didn't. Good, thank goodness. Save really quick. Let's set this to 0. And it's not taking my value. Come on. Oh, 0.01, it's already maxed at 0.2. Okay, we're setting this to 0.2. For some reason, the roughness is not porting over very well. Now, is the multiply node bugging out? That is a possibility. I almost wonder. That is a really big. I'm going to try and undo that. There's 0.1. Come on. 0.0 go. There we go. Let's go ahead and pump that down to 0. So what we're looking at is a really high roughness value right here. But it doesn't look that rough. It's like so metallic looking. There's too much color being pumped through in the specular that it does not give us that proper look. So I mean the roughness. Sam Uka BR. Hi man, greetings from Brazil. Glad to have you here, man. Welcome to the stream. All black with white match. Should be gamma 1. Diffuse is the only way that could be gamma 2.2 sRGB. Yeah, that's interesting. Which model is using the mix and which is using the blend material? Left is the mix one, correct? Nope, the left one is the blend. The right one is the mix. The right one's the correct look that Substance Painter exported. So that's the look that I'm trying to bring over. Yep, mix is on the right, blend is on the left. All right, thanks. Oh, you guys already answered that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Maybe reset Octane. You know, that's actually a good idea. I almost wonder. The sheen input is driven the texture, not the roughness in your material. The sheen input is what's driving basically that kind of sheen look you get on the edge. There shouldn't be a sheen look to this at all because it's a metallic material. Sheen's more for like cloth and different effects. That said, I don't know what they set up. They might be doing, they have a roughness value of 0.2 on its sheen, but nothing plugged in here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a float and slap this into the sheen on both of these and set this to 0 and see if that has any effect. So we are getting sheen. Okay, we have 0.5 sheen, and we have sheen off. So sheen is off. That's good. There shouldn't be an effect of sheen. I'm thinking it's got to be an issue with the color. Hold it. Hold it. I wonder if that's what bugged it out. Half normal wraparound. Okay. Why is this set to half and not a float? No, that didn't do it. Okay. Is that... Set this to a float. Let's use all floats for our input. Half float, 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 float. Very good. Aha. Type is set to float value for the color. How about over here? What were you set to? Can confirm it results in 1-to-1. Okay, so you're trying the blend material. Jamble, you're trying the blend material and it is a 1-to-1 ratio for you? Maybe this is a float. Yeah, I should set that to normal. Yeah, it could be. Nah, normal's not. Not bringing it over. I'm willing to bet it's probably some bug with our multiply node. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill our multiply node off, and we're going to rebuild that. So let's go ahead and kill the multiply, go back in here, re-grab a new multiply, take this multiply, and plug this multiply into here and into here. And this should just plug into, I bet it's probably a bug, something not being read correctly. No, it's not seeming to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save, and I'm just going to do what, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. What somebody in the chat mentioned, resetting Octane. That's a really good idea. I'm going to reset it and just see if that happens to do it. Because right now there is clearly, it feels like, some type of calculation difference going on between the blend material and the mix material. Now, what that difference is tricky. What could that difference be? We're looking at something so dang close. I mean, so very close. Now, I'm seeing in the viewport a definite calculation difference. So this is the blend on the left, and this is the mix on the right. And I love the mix on the right. And we're trying to get that same look on the left, just under the new blend material simplified workflow. If this works, it's going to be awesome. If not, that'll be kind of a bummer. I mean, it's not the end of the world if we can't get it working. I mean, we can always use that same system. It's just annoying. Oh, man, this is just so close. I mean, to be honest, it's not off by much, but it's still just not like it needs to be. This is not the finished result. It's almost too colorful. It's too punchy. There's too much reflection going on. It's way too metallic. So, boy, I almost wonder if it's an issue of these two. I almost wonder if it's an issue with the metallic not being read correctly. Let's just pump that into here. Come on. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was it. Oh my word. Okay, that fixed it. The whole time. Oh my gosh. It's the little things sometimes. That's what frustrates me. Is like it all rides on that one thing. Okay, here's what I did to fix it. What I had to do, I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I have not a flipping clue why they run this like this. But with a mixed material, the amount is reversed. Amount 1 is amount 1 and amount 2 is amount 2. White represents amount 1. Black represents amount 2. Now, with a blend material, it's the opposite. Black represents amount 1. White represents amount 2. What does this mean? I have to take my the shader and I have to invert it. Once it's inverted, it actually works. So here you go. Lo and behold, we have both of them, and they both look exactly the same. And that is what was throwing it off. So there we go. Now it's actually working. Why did they make it like this? I haven't the foggiest. I have no clue. And I can actually test this right now. I can show you guys a perfect example. We're going to make a new material, and we're going to make a new object real quick. Hooray, we did it. I know, right? We finally did it. Always the little things. I know, right? I just spent like, I think it was half an hour trying to get that stinking thing to work, and it was because they, why would they do this to me? See that, I love Octane. Love, love, love Octane. Big fan of it. I do not plan on moving to Redshift, Arnold, or anything. Octane it does everything I need it to. But little things like that frustrate me with them. Why did they have to have that inverted? Couldn't that have just been the same? There was no reason for that. But hey, good news is Octane for life. Hey, I'm with you, man, on that. I'm totally for that. Couldn't they have just left it the same way? Couldn't a mixed material just run like that? Like, we can prove that whole system right here. If we go ahead, we go to materials. Let's make two diffuse materials. Let's make this diffuse, this diffuse. This one will be black, and the other one will be white. And then we'll make a mixed material. Where's a mixed material? Blanking. Here it is, mixed material. Throw this on the sphere. Open it up. Let's go ahead and pull in the black one there and then the white one there. Open up our node editor. Within the node editor, we got a float. Throw our mixed material onto the sphere. It already is. And now I'm just going to simply select our float. This will be for the amount. And I'm just going to grab a gradient. Yeah, this should be a great example. Let's take our gradient, make it linear. And in theory, this should show it off perfectly. So it should show that we're getting two different results. So here is our gradient linearly wrapping around. And I'm going to go ahead and take our transform and set that to a different value. I think it's the Y. I set to 90 degrees, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, that'll give us that effect there. Or was it minus 90? Was it minus 90? Or wasn't it Y? Maybe it was X. I always forget that. Was it 90 on X? Oh, it wasn't 90 on X. It was 90 on Z. It's always the last one you try There we go, 90 on Z. Now we got top and bottom. There we go. So now that we have this, I'm just going to go ahead and set our gradient and I want to make sure I calculate this correctly. So it appears that again we have black is our top port and white is our bottom port. So that means that black, or wait, maybe black is the top and white is the bottom. Is that how it calculates it? I think it is. Yeah, so if I pull black back, it should raise it up. And I pull white forward, oh no, it's the opposite. Okay, let me invert these real quick. This way it'll, okay. White is the top. Yeah, it's as I thought. White is the top, black is the bottom. Okay. Or actually, wait. No, let's see. Okay, we'll put black on the bottom, we'll put white on the top, and that way it should match the gradient. In theory. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Oh, well, let's simplify this. I'm just going to simply take a float texture. Yeah, what am I doing? I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. If I pull this to 0, it's going to drop down. So dark color goes down to black. So yeah, it goes, so 0 is black and 1 is white. So okay, and we got, or basically, yeah, 0 is slot 2, 1 is slot 1. So we have black on slot 2, white on slot 1. Yeah, everything's working good. So now, if I run this in a blend material setup, so let's go ahead and make a blend material, this effect should be the same, right? Slot 1 will be slot 1, and slot 2 will be slot 2. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So let's go ahead and go to blend material, open up the blend material, pop into here, and let's go ahead and make 2 materials. So material 1, add, material 2, add, and for material 1, we'll just make this pure white, and for material 2, we'll make that pure black, and for material 1 and material 2, holding down left shift, we'll go to basic, set this from glossy to diffuse. Both are diffuse. Position these somewhat like this, grab a float texture, pump this into here, and in theory, 0 should be slot 1, in theory, right? Am I thinking this wrong? This always throws me off. So, in theory, right, if I set this to 1, it's going to slot 1. If I set this to 0, it's going to slot 2. Correct. Okay, perfect. So now, if I select my blend material and slap this on top of that and replace it, it should be the same process. In theory, one would hope, right? So 0 should be slot 2. And 0 and then 1 should be slot 1. Well, it's actually the opposite. Yep, and it is as I thought. So here, when we set our float to 1, it's actually running under slot 1. Or wait, it's actually running under slot 2. So yeah, 1 is slot 2 and 0 is slot 1. But if you use a mixed material, it's the opposite. If you set 0 to, if you set your float to 0, 0 is slot 1 and 1 is slot 2. That makes no sense. Yeah, 1 is slot 2, and then under the blend, if you use a float texture of 0, that's slot 1. And then if you set it to 1, then it's 2. Yeah, it's literally reversed. That proves it. You add it within the node editor and reconnect. Yep, yeah, you can. Oh, yep, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that would have been a better way of doing that. But yeah, this proves it basically because literally it's 2 complete opposites. We have to have our float. Yeah, because we have black in slot 1, or wait, black in slot 2, and white in slot 1. And if I set my float to 1, we get black. But to get black underneath our mix, I have to set it to slot 0, and then it'll read black. Whereas if it's 1, then it reads white. So yeah, it's literally reversed. This is an overcomplicated way of explaining what basically I saw that was going on there. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. That was way overcomplicated for what it needed to be. The point is that was just a little test I wanted to confirm. It is literally reversed. So just because you don't like the duplicates. Yeah, all this just because I don't like the duplicates. But it does work now. That is good. I'm so happy with that. So this is a perfect one-to-one reconstruction with all of these here under the blend material, and the blend material is working. I just had to make sure I got this daggum glossy inverted here, and it does seem to be working. Now, somebody mentioned how the invert node doesn't work correctly. They mentioned this here. So I almost wonder if it would be better to run it under this new system that inverts correctly. because, yeah, if we do it incorrect, yeah, this is wrong, and this is wrong, doing it that way. Still no. So the best way, yeah, apparently go to a gamma. So yeah, apparently the gamma does not invert correctly. Give it a try. Yeah, I'm down for that. So it looks like what we're going to, curious as hell. Yeah. Yeah, so this will be interesting. So let's see. If I do, yeah, so all I do is a color correct, then an invert, and then another color correct. Is that the same gamma? Okay, here he has a list. So gamma parameter set to 1, divided by 2.2 approximate. So we're going to do 4.45 for the gamma, and then the invert node, and then another 1 to 2.2. Okay, yeah, that's simple enough. So all I got to do is I'm just going to run one invert. We're going to have an invert. And before that, we're going to have a color correction node. And in the color correction node, I think it said the gamma should be 0.45. Yeah, so we just run a gamma of 0.45, run this into texture. Yeah, it says texture. Plug this into the invert, plug this into the amount. And we also need to run another color correction, except this time the gamma will be 2.2. And we plug that invert also into the texture, and then plug that texture into the amount. And this will give us maybe, oh, interesting. Interesting. So this isn't actually working. Okay, what did I do? Oh, I'm an idiot. I have the invert going on this, so I shouldn't start out. I'm already inverting, so I have an invert, then I invert, then I invert, then I invert. So it's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So I need to uncheck the invert here, then it'll invert that invert, and then give the correct gamma. So that was my bad. Maybe this will actually work better than the old system. I don't know. It looks good. Is there a difference? Let's do a A/B comparison. Let's go to compare store render buffer, and now let's just go ahead and turn on the invert here, and we'll just pump this invert into amount 2. And now let's go ahead and compare this. Do we see a difference? Oh, I do. I do see a difference. Look here in the shadows. So we have A. Is A the current render? Yes, A is the current render. This is the older one. Let's go back to our old camera position. Yeah, look at that. The new one, I don't know what's better. Which one do you like? Do you guys like better? So we can see we're getting more highlights here. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why at all. But you're right. There's a total difference in just doing a raw invert and a calculation difference, kind of like that. Oh, I wasn't looking at chat. Don't forget to check the starting gamma. It must be set to 2.2. I didn't need to invert many mats to get a 1.1. Oh, interesting. You didn't have to do any invert on the materials to get the 1-to-1 ratio. Very interesting. Yeah, it's got to be definitely because the blend materials different calculation. Black and white should be gamma 1. Did you know that you can just add notes on existing connections by dragging and dropping nodes into the connection line? Oh, MNIB. That's a very good point. You can do that. I don't do that very much. I need to get into a better habit of that. Oops, I messed it up. There we go. We should just be able to drag and drop, wait for it to highlight. There we go, and drop, and that should just connect. Perfect. So that's a really good idea too. I think I have my color correction nodes set up right. Yeah, it should be 0.45, invert, then 2.2. I think that should be correct. Yeah. So useful. Yeah, I know, right? It definitely is. I don't know which one I like better. So this is just a raw invert. So the left one here, this is the raw invert, the one that's technically incorrect, the one that doesn't invert it the gamma correctly, and this one on the right is the correct one. And notice they are both similar, but they are off by a little bit. So I'm not sure which one do you guys like better? Do you like A or do you like B? A has a little bit lighter. A, it looks like it's allowing more of that reflection to come through. That metallic look almost. Yeah, like there's totally, this is allowing more rust. This is allowing less. Nope, I used a blend and didn't need to invert anything. Really? That's interesting. So you are actually able to use a blend and didn't have to invert it. That's really weird. I think B looks a little better, at least on the bright spots. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think B does look a little better. Yeah, I think it definitely does. What I'm going to do, just for um, accuracy's sake, is I'm going to go ahead and open up my lantern in Substance Painter and try and figure out which one looks closer to the original. So if I can figure that out, that's going to be a big thing. Because it's also not which one looks better, but it's which one looks the most realistic to the original. Yeah, that's okay. We can load this in. It's an older version. This will be very interesting to see if this new invert process is closer. Which one comes out with the best results or the most realistic? It makes no difference. 3.8 and 4 makes no difference. Ah, okay, perfect. What version of Octane are you using? Oh, interesting. The whole InfoThrill article based on, by the way, gradients. I don't think it's needed for SEP 2.2. Oh, okay. So that's mostly based on gradients. Interesting. So here we go. We're now in here. Boy, I have shadows turned on. I should turn them off. I love Substance Painter shadow system, by the way. Big fan of that. Shadows, what's that under? Blah, blah, blah. Ambient occlusion. Emissive intensity. Was it here? Shader settings, PBR, outdated. Outdated. Okay, they got a new PBR rough. PBR metal layering, PBR metal rough. Here it is, a new one. Okay, that's better. Where did I put? Oh, it's gonna be over here. No, that's my wireframe. Shadows. Goodbye, shadows. So let's go ahead and just pop this whole thing over into, where's iRay? My computer's going to hate me. I'm going to be rendering an iRay and an Octane. It's going to be like, oh, no. So where did they move iRay? Did they move it up here? They did. They moved it to the other spot. That's interesting. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and hop over into iRay. It should pop up. Yeah, come on. Here we go. iRay up. Let's get this rendering. PBR is outdated now. Oh, yeah, right. Oh my gosh. I'm like, things move so quick. I'm like, wait, I just learned about PBR like not long ago. Now it's outdated? What the Harry's? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. iRay is alive. You know what? I'm seeing a lot more metallic in Substance Painter right here. I'm seeing a lot more metallic look coming from this. So that brighter metallic look from B feels like that's actually more correct. So I'm thinking just a raw invert within the node is probably going to be a little bit closer, even though it's not is physically correct. I almost wonder if that would be better to go with in this case, just because it happens to be closer, a better, more close representation of what Substance Painter is kind of putting out. So that is what I'm seeing here. Man, iRay renders slow compared to Octane. I don't know why. But I'm glad I have Octane and I'm not rendering with iRay in Cinema 4D. I'll tell you that right now. Let's see. Can I turn this off? Because it is bogging my computer down. And, well, to be fair, I am rendering a lot larger of a screen. It sure doesn't look as nice in iRay. Though I don't have a very nice HDRI going on in there. So, yeah. I mean, Substance Painter's live viewer, though, was a fun one. This was a great little thing I made, and if you guys are interested in learning how to make this, check out an awesome tutorial that Substance Painter has at Substance Painter. They have a really good tutorial right on, like I learned to make this whole lantern from underneath their Learn Substance Painter Academy. Can you link the scene as an example workflow just in case? I would link my scene, but I don't actually own the lantern model itself. I made that, the lantern model is actually pre-built. Do you have to re-export the maps now that you switch the PBR mode to the new one inside of Substance? I don't think I should have to re-export. They all have calculated out correctly. I don't think the system has changed at all. But to get the same thing I have, you're just going to want to follow this tutorial right here. I can link this for you guys in chat. It's a really great tutorial. You download this Substance Painter project. It's going to give you all the assets you need, and you follow through this series. It's a 13-part. It's a little long, but it's totally worth the time. This guy in here teaches you how to texture in Substance Painter, gives you the model, and he teaches you how to make this textured lantern here. Now, I added my own little effects here and did my own kind of little things to some extent, but the gist of the main process is all taught in there. So like I added my logo here, painted things a little different, chose a little different color choices. He had a different direction he wanted to take it. You can just delete the lantern. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood what you said. Yes, absolutely. What my plan is actually is I want to take this PBR material setup right here, and I actually want to upload it to the for free on the LiveDB. So I'm going to go to options. I'm just going to call it the Epic Substance Shader or something easy to find. I'm going to upload it to the LiveDB and give people access to it. So literally, it'll be up here. I don't know where it's going to end up showing up. I do know to get the substance material before, you went to miscellaneous. Wasn't it miscellaneous? Yeah, it should load in more. They had a lot more in miscellaneous before. Where did it all go? Boy, where did they all go? We only have a few here. Did they update everything? I don't know. That's kind of weird. Attic. Oh, they did just update everything. Okay. Long tutorials are the best. Thank you, MIB. I appreciate it. Yeah, long tutorials are interesting. They definitely are interesting. Oh, thank you for the heart. I appreciate that. But apparently, they just named Octane is literally just today, because I did this yesterday or 2 days ago. I was looking through. They just literally changed this. Miscellaneous is now another spot. The new area is called the Attic. A-T-T-I-C, they're calling it Attic. And this is now the place where you find all that stuff. Unless they've reworked everything. Where is that Substance Painter? Node graph. All that's in here is node graphs. Non-organic? Organic? Non-organic? Materials. Yeah, it should be under materials, miscellaneous. Oh, I'm an idiot. They moved its place. Okay. What you want to go is not miscellaneous under textures or OTOY. You want to go materials, miscellaneous here. This is the spot. And under this miscellaneous section, you can scroll all. Actually, do they have it up here? No, they don't. If you go all the way down to the very, very bottom, you're going to have a spot called, it's in the S group. S, Octane. Here it is. Specular, milk, skin, or close. Self-tile concrete. That looks really cool, actually. Sand. There's some really good sands. Rust. There should be a substance painter. Here it is. Substance PDR. There is a friggin' ton of these, and there's a lot. The one you want, though, is this weird-looking one here. It has a bunch of pre-built images all within it. How do you upload to LiveDB? Never thought about that. That is a good question. The way you upload to LiveDB is, I looked into it one time to upload to LiveDB. That was under, it's a really weird section. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. What you have to do is you have to log in Octane render. I'm going to log in quick, and then once you log in, should just log in. Oh boy, how do I log in? And we'll do, I think this is it, if I log in. Okay, perfect. So there is that. So what you want to click is this, and yes. Okay, perfect. So here's how it works. You're going to log into your Octane account on your website. Once you go there, you're going to click on LiveDB, and this is going to bring you to this spot here. So I can search, select a category. Okay. They've updated this recently too. It did not look like this before. Okay, category, size, medium. Macro pages, we'll do like 500 deep. Let's search. It's not letting me actually select. We'll just do global. I don't know what that means. There was a way to upload your own. Just drag and drop. I'm afraid drag and drop doesn't work. I've tried that. Someone needs to download all this. Yeah, that it is interesting. Their setup is very interesting. Apparently, the stream's health is kind of down. Viewers might experience buffering. Hope you guys aren't having any trouble with buffering. Ever since I started up iRay, it was a little bit more heavy, and now the stream's acting a little weird. But I think it's still working. Let me know if you guys have any trouble, though. Boy, how the heck? Let's see. Upload to live DB. There should be an Octane article. New topic, how to upload materials to LiveDB. Is it possible to create my own material presets and upload it to the database to share with people? If yes, how can I do that? In your personal section, you can manage the materials you have shared in LiveDB from standalone. Basically, you can change the name, add a description, or move the material in version 4 Octane. Go to Live Viewer menu, Materials, LiveDB, select the LiveDB category, and drag and drop your materials from it to the Material Manager. Then go to Standalone, Outlier, LocalDB. Load the materials saved from the Octane. Follow the instructions of this document to upload materials into the LiveDB. Okay, so in C4D Octane, you can right-click a material on the node graph, save it as Orbix Open Standalone, import Orbix, and save it for sharing. Note that the thumbnail will be created separately at some time. The material, interesting. Okay. Okay, that is interesting. It's very interesting. So, I almost wonder, what if I search wood? Is anything going to come up? Can't refresh, no category. I can't get a category. That's tricky. No category. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it won't let me select a category. Interesting. I'll do large, 30. Global search. Yeah, the category does not seem to be working at the moment. So, let's try a drag and drop at this point. They might have updated it. So let's go to materials, open LiveDB. I don't want to mess it up, but no, they don't seem to let me. Oh, but before I forget, what I want to do is the whole reason I was doing this. This is the old Substance Painter preset, and I download this. I downloaded it off the LiveDB, and then I'm going to download this here. When I download it, there's a problem with it. It's going to... Yeah, it creates a bunch of duplicates of itself. I downloaded it twice. But the problem with it is when you download the old one, it is a mess. It takes like 15 minutes to clean everything up if you know what you're doing. Like, it's a pain. And that's why I wanted this Uber material, not Uber, that's the old name for it, this blend material to work. Because the old system was a pain. So, is that going to delete? Come on. Come on. Delete. Remove unused materials. Uh-oh. I just thought I almost deleted my Uber one for a minute. I'd have been like, no. That would have sucked. So, Octane Blend. So, that's keeping Octane Blend. Why are you not deleting? Okay, now they deleted. So, now it's clean. So, let's go ahead, save... Go back to materials, open LiveDB. Here is my Substance Painter preset. Click download. Should download it just once. Keep everything nice and tidy. There we go. We just have 3. Here's the issue when you download these. Let's go ahead and open them up. Click Node Editor. Our problem is that because a mix material is made up of the mix material plus 2 other standard materials mixed within that material, we get a problem. The problem we get is that we get a duplication of those materials. You'll notice that we're going to have 2 normal maps, we're going to have 2 diffuse maps, we're going to have 2 roughness maps, we're going to have each node duplicated, so if I have one multiply node that was used for both materials, it duplicates both of them, etc., etc., and just kind of runs it off into the ground. I did the following with my blend following Raphael image. Mat 1 set to 0, diffuse type normal, gamma 2.2, pipes in spec into to diffuse. Normal, type normal, into normal, each mat, metallic, type float, gamma 1, into invert, pipes into mix amounts between the two mats. Interesting. Very interesting. Do you have, could you link to that image? I don't know if YouTube will let you upload it or not, or link it, but it'd be interesting if that would work. A GGX BRDF index from artistic set to 0, mat 2. Interesting. Okay. Diffuse type normal, gamma 2.2, pipes into mat, specular, mat 2, roughness. Okay. Interesting. Gamma 2 into the air invert, pipes into mix, amount the 2. Okay, that would be interesting to try that blend material setup and compare that as a third option under this whole setup. So let's go ahead and pull this over. Delete these 3 because we don't need them. And we're going to try this new one. Let's try this as a third option. Let's go ahead and just compare and see which one. It's not store render buffer. The guys at Algorithmic should just build a plugin for CMRT that does all that for you, no matter what engine you use. I think they already got something like that for Maya and Unreal. That is such a good point. They do have that for Maya Unreal, and it's so nice, and I really just wish they'd get Cinema 4D working no matter what plugin you're using. That said, the reason they haven't done that yet is because Cinema 4D actually has a built-in plugin. If you go to Pipeline, they actually have a Substance engine, and you can load a Substance. This is interesting, but the problem is with it is that it doesn't actually link everything over correctly with Octane. That is the problem. I can't. YouTube won't let me, but I'll try. Okay, let's see. I'll copy this imager. Let's go ahead and paste this in. Control T, Control V, and I think if I space this over, I wonder what I typed in correctly. Oops, I need to put a space with the A. Come on. What am I doing wrong? Try imgur /a/ and it's not working with smart materials. Similar as the substance pipeline. Yes, it is. Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Maxon. Yeah, isn't that the truth? The great part with it is that it literally will let you. The pipeline is good, but it's not. It doesn't work the way you would think. Basically, what it does is I'm going to click load substance. I think I have a substance I could load in. Let's see. Paste this in here. Lantern. Yeah, that's invalid. I need to actually load in a substance asset. I don't have any at the moment, but what I basically will say is it will load in each format. So basically, it won't mean you won't have to bake it. You won't have to export out the bake. It'll just automatically load in. Here's the diffuse. Here's the roughness, bump, etc., etc. Problem is it does not support making all these nodes. It will not do this. So for me, I don't actually use it because it would be pointless because it doesn't actually achieve what I want. I won't be actually able to get my lantern out and actually render that in Octane, so I have to actually do this. So that is the problem with that. So I will leave that invert on. Yeah. And I wonder why. Oh, blah. I'm an idiot. You're right. I just need .com after the end of imgur. .com. Oh my goodness. And I need to put this up here and paste that up in there. pa.com. What am I typing in correctly? imgur /a.com. Boy, I wonder what I'm doing incorrectly. They could just code it in at the R21 wish list. Yeah, right. I really wish they would. It would be so much nicer. They do actually have Octane to C4D, Substance Painter Octane plugin. They actually have a plugin out. I forget who made it. Substance Painter Octane plugin. Somebody made it. I forget who it was. it was a really good plugin. It was a single-click fix for Cinema 4D Octane render. I don't remember where that was. Yeah, it was the PBR Metal Rough workflow, right? Yeah, that was that one. Plus Live Link, Octane Live Link. This is it. Subs and Painter, nope, just after Imgur. Oh, whoops. Did I paste that? Imgur.com. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Yes, Imgur.com/that. Oh, did I paste it up in here? Okay, here we go. I'm an idiot. Okay, gamma does not matter. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So this is very interesting. He's plugging the materials in directly and then running an invert. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, let's give this a shot. I want to test this out. Let's go ahead and just, this is going to be great. We're going to be able to figure out which workflow gives the best results. Let's just go ahead up to materials. Let's make an Octane blend material. Blend material, slap this one onto the one over here, and let's go ahead and check it out. Let's get this thing opened up, hop into here, and let's get this rolling. I'm just going to go ahead and stop Octane render in the background so it's not churning, and let's see which one is going to be the answer. So we'll set this to 2. According to the material, we need to have a metal material, GGX, with a BSDF of certain value. So let's go ahead and do that. So first material, let's go ahead and add a material. This is going to be a basic glossy. We're going to do a metallic with a GGX for our BSDF model or BRDF model. And it needs to be set to artistic mode. Where would that be under? That's under index. I'm an idiot. Where is that? Anisotropic film, normal, index of diffraction mode, artistic. Okay, excellent. Artistic mode, glossy matte GDX, and the next one is going to be our glossy material. Okay, sweet. We'll go for material 2. Add this. We'll set this one here to our glossy and GGX as well. So this will be a GGX. Is this also artistic? No, index 1.5. Okay, so now I need to go to my index and set this to 1.5, which it already is set to. Handy dandy. Index of refraction. Check, check, check. Anisotropic. Normal. Correct, correct. And then, okay, what is this? This is interesting. Very interesting. What is our gamma float? Oh, and I'm sorry, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Then the slashes. Nope, after Imgur. Oh, yep. Super sampled. Only gotcha for the diffuse is the first matte spec. Oh, yeah. Super simple. The only gotcha for me was the diffuse into the first matte spec. Oh, yeah, you're right. So I'm looking at this here. What do we got here? We have, does he actually say what these materials are? So this is the normal. He's just plugging directly in, which makes sense. Oh, that's the displacement. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the diffuse. Okay, this has got to be the diffuse. This is the roughness. That's normal. Okay, that makes sense to me now. That's perfect. Okay, so, whoops, where's that Imgur link? Pull this. Whoop, grab the wrong one. Okay, grab this, pull it over. Okay, I think we can get this working. This will be sweet. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull those mats over that I had from this guy and grab these, grab all of them, Control C for copy. Go ahead, pull this over to the new lineup over here, and we'll start working them in. So first things first, we have our normal map. That just is going to plug into the normal and normal. So normal and normal. And now we're going to go ahead here for our image texture. If this works, I hope it does. This is a genius setup. I'll just take this and port that over. And then we're going to take this and plug this into the amount, right? I think. Yep, but he's going to run it through an invert node first. Okay, so that makes sense. Totally makes sense. He already figured that out then, whoever, when he came up with that. So he already got that worked out. So we got this. with this. Check, check, check. Good. Good, we got our invert. Very nice. Next up is the diffuse into the specular and the diffuse on both. Okay, that's interesting. So this goes into the specular on this one, and then this goes into the diffuse on this one. The normal is set up correctly. Roughness is simply just going to pump directly into roughness. Okay, and gamma set to 1 on both. That is very interesting. So roughness into roughness and roughness into roughness, and gamma set to 1. So now we'll get our gamma set up. So if I set my gamma to 1 on my roughness, and then I set the gamma doesn't matter on the normal. Okay, we'll just leave that at 1. Or actually, yeah, we'll just leave that at 1. Yeah, we got gamma 1 on roughness, gamma 2.2 for the color. Is that correct? Yes. And normal. Normal, float for the roughness, float for the roughness. Gamma, and for this one, it needs to be gamma 1, check, with a float, check. Okay, let's take a look. Let's go ahead and start the render up. I think I got everything correct. I might have broke it. It could be, it might not shade correctly because I might have a few things off, but I think, fingers crossed. Okay. Okay, very nice. This seems to look very similar. It seems to look exactly, actually, like the other one, and it's a far simpler system. Far simpler. I almost wonder. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that image. That actually is working out perfectly. So now the big test. Let's compare them both. So we'll select this one. Here it is. Here's our Octane blend new, and then here is our old. So we have new and old. Here's the old one. We have it. I'm going to go to compare, store render buffer, and then we'll take the new one and slap that on top of that, and we'll run the new one. Come on, I'm hoping. Very hopeful. If this looks the same. Okay, it is. It is close. You know what? I actually... man, I don't know which one I like better. I think... Oh, man, what do you guys feel about that? I am kind of torn. Where's the chat? Actually, I'm blocked up. Simple. Yeah, I was wondering if it wouldn't be more physically accurate if the actual metal material was a metallic type GGX and a paint parts and the texture were set to glossy Beckman. I know it wouldn't look like the Substance Painter viewport, but still. That's true. It probably would be more realistic, but the tricky thing is I'm really trying to make sure it stays like it does in Substance Painter. That said, that is an option. For me, a big thing is when you're working in Substance Painter, you're painting it, you're trying to art direct it, and it's really important to try and get the reflections and everything to view how it did in Substance. So here, this is what I'm seeing for the dirt and the reflections, kind of on the edges of it. This is kind of how it's looking. Yeah, Ralph did a great job. I think it took a ton of trial and error. Who thinks to put the diffuse in the spec? I know, right? Who would have thought of that? Isn't that the truth? So, boy, which one do you guys like better? What I'm seeing here is a harder contrast in the dirt to the paint. As opposed to this, I'm seeing a little bit more reflection kind of coming in. I almost want to try viewing it from a different angle. I don't know why it's rendering so slow because I have Substance Painter in the background. Let's try like a really distinct angle. So we have this one, and we'll do store render buffer, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw the old one back on. So the old one's the left, the new one's the right. So yeah, let's see how that works. The new one's the left, the old one's the right. Which? Okay. Boy. Oh, man. One's a little bit more metallic, maybe. My gosh, I don't know which one is actually more accurate. This is really tricky. So, boy, they're both so dang close. Too shiny. Yeah, B's way better. Yeah, I'm almost... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. B is better. That's what I'm thinking, too. So the new way, rust looks more diffuse, which is more accurate, really. That is the truth. The rust looks too shiny. Yeah, so you guys like this one, right? The one on the right, the B one right now. This is Ralph's method. Rust looks more diffuse, and that is very true. The rust is supposed to be more diffuse. This is just too, you're right, too shiny. So to make sure, what's the one that's on right now? This should be the old one. Yes, so the old system. This is the old system, right? Which is good, actually, quite honestly. This is the old complicated system, right? This is really old and complicated. And then this is the new system, which is running under this, which is so much better. Oh my gosh, so much better. So that is pretty sweet. That is really sweet. So this is Ralph's system that I'm loving. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing that. Or thank you so much. Who's the one that shared that? I think NMIB, right? No, it was Jamel. Sorry, it was Jamel that shared that picture. Thank you so much, Jamel, for sharing that. Comparison shot. You uploaded an imager link with a comparison shot. Nice. Yeah, I'm totally liking this one better. With a gamma of 1, too. That's so interesting. What if I set this to 0.7? How would that throw that off? What do we got here? Let's do compare, enable render buffer. Do I still have the old one on? No, I have the new one on. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, with the 0.7, oh, okay, hold it. That's what totally does that whole thing. Because if I set this to 1, is this the new one? Or wait, which one's more shiny? I thought the new one was less shiny. Let's give that a shot. So we'll do this one. This is the new one. So let's do compare, store render buffer. So the right one is the old one, and the left one should be the new one. So let's go to old. Yeah, the old one's on right now, so now I'm going to put on the new one. Should reload, refresh. So right is old, left is new. Oh yeah, left is the better one. Yep, that's perfect. Too reflective on the old one. The rust is... See how nice and kind of gritty the rust looks here? Like it's like, well, there's also more than, this is also dust that I painted on, and dust is not reflective. Dust shouldn't be reflective at all. So that is friggin' sweet. So this is just like it should be. Because see here, I'm going to stop Octane render real quick. Over in Substance Painter, you can see that my dust is supposed to look not shiny. Like, see how the dust down here is, like, not shiny at all? Like, really nice and diffuse. But we still have some shiny spots underneath the dust. That's what gives it that nice wear and tear. And that is what brought it over perfectly. You can see that they have a really bad UV map on the bottom of this lantern. So low poly. Or really low resolution. Yeah, left totally wins. I'm with you guys on that. Left is the champion right here. The rust is so much more realistic on there. It's less shiny. I'm sold right now. Heck with the old workflow that we just spent the last half hour trying to put together. This is so much better. It's funny how thing goes. Did not expect that, but hey, I'm loving this. And he figured out that invert system. I think I'm going to leave. Technically, you don't have to have an invert node, but I think it's nice to have. We have such a small node setup as it is. I think it's nice to have this. Now, I guess there's nothing I need to set for my diffuse because my diffuse is already set to this. Does changing my diffuse color have an effect? I must wonder. Would it have an effect? It should. It was at 85%. We're going to see how this goes. No worries, man, says Jamal. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate that. That helped out so much. What if I sent this red? So the color from the diffuse has no effect at all, which is good. I don't want that diffuse to have an effect. And that is because we are running with my diffuse. We have pure reflections under our index, I imagine. Right? Yeah, because if I select this, we are a metallic, GGX. And our index of refraction is artistic, and index of refraction of 0, which is purely reflective. So just ignore the substance, reflection / specular, and just feeding it with the diffuse. Ask THRL. Well, what you want to do is you want to export out these 4 maps. So you want to have a normal. I'm going to actually adjust my normal to gamma 2.2. I think that would do better. Is there a difference? Let's do store render buffer, gamma 2.2. Let's set our gamma to 1. I don't think it matters. No, gamma has no effect on normal. I don't think it does. No, gamma has no effect. So I'm just going to leave my gamma to 2.2 because I am OCD about that. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to export out a metallic map, then you want to export out a diffuse base color map, and then you want to export out a normal, and then you want to export out a roughness. Now, to do all this, it's this simple. Literally, I'm going to stop Octane render. When we export out our textures, we just simply go in Substance Painter, we go to File, Export Textures. Control-Shift-E is the shortcut. And you want to be the PBR Metal Rough. This is the preset that you want to use. And the PBR Metal Rough configuration under here, PBR Metal Rough, is going to give you a base color, a roughness, a metallic, normal. It's also going to give you a height, and emissive, a scattering, a specular, ambient occlusion, etc., etc. But all you need to use is you just need to use the metallic, normal, roughness, and base color. And of course, you could always pump in displacement if you happen to have that. Yeah, you don't need any spec maps from Substance. Yep, don't worry about, which quite honestly, that's what threw me off, and I was trying to come up with a decent workflow, which this is way better than anything I came up with so far. So thanks again, Jamal, for passing that info along. That really helped. That totally made things better. What was I going to say? What's so weird? What was so weird is that you would think, since Octane has a specular map slot, you would export out a specular map, and you'd plug that into there. But no, you actually plug the diffuse into the specular. And what's our specular set to down here? 0.7. Is that correct? That's another question. But yeah, it's so weird how they did that. Compare, disable. Is specular really supposed to be 0.7? Glossy matte, index 1.5, artistic mode, gamma 1.0, float, check. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good system going on there. I'm interested in seeing if, okay, that's off, and that's on. So would one want the specular to be 100%? Is the question. That is a really good question. Store render buffer. So it was 0.7, so let's compare. One of them's 0.7, one of them's 100. So the right B is 100, left A is 0.7. It's still just as diffuse, the rust. Man. It's too shiny. I'm a shiny fan, though. The rust is still nice and diffuse. I don't know. Should that be 0.7? Yeah, you don't need any spec maps from Substance. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and try one thing. I'm going to set our specular to 1. And I'm going to let that churn out. Then we'll compare store render buffer. I'm going to take our old map, slap that on top instead, and compare our old map to our new map now that I have the specular at that. And oh my gosh, I hate the old one so much compared to the new one. The new one's so much better. Yeah, that's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, there's no comparison. Yeah, goodbye old, you are junk. You are junk. You are not good. So the new one, the new is the save. Boy, so I don't think anybody has anything where you can download yet for this. So I totally would love to upload this material to the LiveDB. The 1.0 has more contrast. Yeah, the 1.0 does. I'm feeling that having the specular at 1 instead of 0.7 is better. I'm feeling like that's a little closer to what I was aiming for when I was making it. And the diffuse has no effect here, which is great. Diffuse has effect there. Leave the specular default. This should be the metallic. No, this is the glossy. GGX should have index of 1.5, which it does. I wonder why an index of 1.5. What if I set that to 1? Okay, 1 is not right. 1.45 is technically a little bit more physically accurate, though. So we have a 1.45 here. Let's do compare store render buffer, and then we'll do a 1.5. Now I'm just getting really picky. But usually 1.45 is a little bit more physically accurate. So left is 1.5, right is 1.45. I'm a little bit more of a fan of a 1.45. I don't know why, but it's a little bit more physically accurate in some cases. Most materials are around a 1.45 instead of a 1.5. That's interesting. I mean, we're talking about a difference of 0.05, but boy, that close. So which one do you guys like better here? We got A, then we have B. So A, it's a little bit, or actually, I know what we can do. Let's full scale this thing. Actually, I don't think I can. Yeah, then I lose access to that. So left is A, right is B. Left is 1.5 on the index, and the right is 1.4. So basically, we're noticing a little bit more reflection oomph out of the left, where the right we're not getting as much. The right seems a little bit more subdued. The left seems a little bit more... Boy, I'm not sure which one I like more, quite honestly. I'm lost on that. That's really up in the air. He's saying we should do a 1.5, but I'm almost leaning towards a 1.4. I prefer 1.45 too. Yeah, everybody's saying 1.45. I'm really feeling that 1.45 probably is the better bet here. I don't know why. It just feels a little bit more realistic. I know I'm being nitpicky on this. I'm being really nitpicky on this. I'm going to go ahead and say that 1.45 is the way to go on that. So we'll go ahead, and that was for our bottom mat. So we're going to do 1.45. I'm going to go ahead and just lock that down. I know we're talking 0.05 in difference here, but I'm just going to go with that one. Our index for this should be pure because it's running under the blah, 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 index of refraction, artistic mode, preset, so this should all be fine. Google the index of refraction for paint and use this one with the HDRI. That is a very good point. What is the index of refraction for paint? That's going to actually be a big determiner in what you're actually going to set that value to. Now, that's the tricky part, is how can we make sure that our index of refraction of whatever we export out, so everything perfectly accurate. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Make sure everything's perfectly accurate. How? Yeah, because if you're in Substance Painter, well, I mean, we have, this is our metallic. So we're going to have a metallic area, and then this is more of our diffuse area. And 1.45 is typically more accurate. Let's just go ahead and Google the index of refraction of paint real quick. Oh, this is the stream. Whoops. Oh, I'm just gonna check that real quick. Index of paint. What's art of paint? Reddit. Refraction. Pixel Poly. This is very nice of them. Oh wow, they got a whole list here. A materials. Oh, paint. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Paint, paint, paint. Patine, pearl. Plastic. Paint? They don't have paint. Maybe they'd have a different word for it. Everything is within that 1.5 ballpark. This is such a great resource, though. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but man, this is a great resource for index of refractions. I'll share this with you guys if you guys want to check that out. There's a link for it. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm definitely a fan of that. But before I forget, here is a quick demonstration of a friggin' awesome plugin. Now, this is not my plugin. This is somebody else. Hey, Bitapon. Oh, it's okay. My day's going pretty good. Glad to have you here. We've been messing around with getting the Substance Painter workflow good, kind of running between Substance Painter and Octane render in Cinema 4D, and we finally got something working really good. Everybody's been chipping in, helping out, but we've really got a nice setup now. This wasn't the right video, I don't think, at all. Didn't he show? They had this plug. Oh, no, this is the right one, yeah. Yeah, it's this Hedgehog Connect. It'll literally export everything out. I don't know what. He doesn't show example of the nodes, though, at all, which is a bummer. But apparently, I mean, it looks. That's Substance Painter. Though he's using a mixed material. I'm not too happy with that. We just got a blend set up. No point painting something for it to look different in your engine. Isn't that the truth? Yep, it's not about being accurate, but more about matching substance exactly. Yep, that's what I'm more into. So you guys are saying that it matches more correctly if the index is 1.5, because that's what Substance Painter runs under. Because like I'm totally down for painting it, making it more accurate in Substance Painter. I just want to make sure that in Cinema 4D it looks like it should. So that's right. That's right. That bake went over kind of messy there. That's okay though. Happy with that. How it was more reflective, to be honest. So 1.5 probably would be more physically correct to how substance came over. It probably would be. Yeah, maybe that is a very good point. I probably should put this back to 1.5 just to keep things in line with the being accurate. Can you pop the substance HDR to Octane? Boy, that is a good question. Can you pop the substance HDR to Octane? I'm bad with abbreviations. What does HDR stand for? The high dynamic range image. Oh, blah. I'm an idiot. The HDRI to Octane. Sorry, that was my bad. Yes, I can actually. Let me check what HDRI I'm using, and I'll make sure I'm lining up the same one. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Mondrian 3. Now, can I go view file asset directory? Bum, bum. How would I check that out? There's a substance folder that you can go into. Videos, this PC. Program drive. Yeah, program drive. No, that's the wrong one. Local disk. Program files, Substance Painter should be in here. Algorithmic, here it is. Substance Painter, resources, shader doc. No, that's not it. It's in here somewhere. Here's the folder I'm looking in. Shelf, algorithmic, shortcut color, environments. Here we go. I think it's an exterior. And what's it called? Mondrian. Mondrian 3, there it is, lo and behold. Sweet, thank you for pointing that out. That's a really good idea. Disable the A and B comparison. Hop into, I'm going to remove HDRI link for now. Hop into here, drag in Mondrian. No, I won't save the directory. Hit render. Let this churn up. And what do we got? Base 1. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Go ahead, path tracing. There we go. That's the correct renderer. So that's going to look a lot more physically accurate, and we'll slap on the new one for our base. And this one should look better. Yes, it does. Looks a lot better. So there we go. I'm liking that. That is looking so friggin' good. That is like it should look. So hop over in Substance Painter. Looking good. Stream health is back to good and healthy now. That's nice. Might have to your shelf. Oh, yep, it was in the shelf. You should be able to browse to it. Might have to use shelf. Then it'll be under HDRIs. Then you should see its directory. Yep, sweet. Yeah, that's a good point, guys. I'm thinking. Oh, I need to actually turn on. Let's see. Environment opacity. Here we go. So let me just make sure this is the correct one. This is it here. Octane. Let's go back out. And this is the correct one. Yeah, we're good. So let's go ahead and hide our floor just so we can focus on this here. So we're in the right environment. Is the lantern set up correctly? I think everything should... Turn down the brightness a little inside Cinema. Yeah, it looks a little too bright. I think I might have imported... Oh, shoot. I had the brightness cranked up way too high. There we go. Good point. Think you're still in direct lighting, not path tracing. Oops, that's a good point. There we go. Now we're in path tracing. Sometimes it kind of bugs out and kicks over to direct lighting. There we go. Or it's a little weird. It'll actually say direct lighting, but it'll actually be in path tracing. It's really weird in both cases, though. I don't know if we'll notice too much of a difference. Direct lighting. Yeah, we are seeing a little bit. I'm a huge path tracing fan. So I'm feeling... Are the shadows hitting the correct? I feel like that would be the best way to tell. My computer's going to be freaking out because I'm rendering with Octane in the background and the Substance Painter here. Let's turn shadows on. Okay, shadows are positioned really nicely. So let's just go ahead and take a look. We'll let the shadows sit. Ambient occlusion and global illumination is kicking in. We got all this going on. In Cinema 4D, we have all this going on. I feel like... that we've nailed it, guys. You guys have got it down. I feel like we've got a perfect Cinema 4D Substance Painter workflow going right now. Thank you so much, Jamal, for posting the link to that. Big thanks to you on that. And everybody else, too, for all the help in figuring this out. I feel like we really have a perfectly solid 1-to-1 ratio of Substance Painter to Cinema 4D. Now, again, it's not going to look as nice here because we're not doing... ray tracing or anything like that. I could pop it in. That's what I probably should do. I'll kill it here, hop into here, pull up iRay. Let's go take a look at iRay. I just love Substance Painter. Let me say, I love the ability to dock everything and just view everything full screen. Like, it's just friggin' gorgeous. Yeah, look how well this is rendering right in here. Look how closely this is to this right here. I am going to pull open our floor. But even without the floor on, we can see that that sure as heck looks right on point. It should match. If you rotate your environment by 290 degrees, oh, is it off by a few degrees? I think you're actually right. I think it might be. I think it's close. Yeah, 290. I think it should be rotation. Was that rotation X? Yeah, it should be 290. As soon as I can get, how do I get iRay to stop rendering? Whoop. Okay, come on, iRay. I'm not a fan of iRay's optimization because it like bogs the heck down at the system when you render with it. But it looks good. I know iRay, the bump is inverted. Is it really? That could be. It shouldn't be. So we got this here. It might look inverted. I don't think so. Is the normal inverted? Oh, it looks inverted because the shadows aren't... actually, shoot. It looks inverted, actually. Let's go ahead and stop iRay. You're right. I think it is inverted. Son of a gun. Or it might just be that the floor shadows are hitting it weird. Because there wasn't a floor, now that there will be a floor. Is it inverted? I don't think so. I can invert our normal. It shouldn't be. Yeah, because all that's coming from the normal. I can invert it. Maybe the other way better. So this is with it inverted. And then this is with the invert off. I can't tell. Okay, wait a minute. Why would the normal look inverted? That's so weird. So technically speaking, did it bump in or out? How did the reflections look on the other one? yeah, it should bump. That's bumping out. That's bumping in. So if I stop this here, hop back into Substance Painter, pull this up into full screen. What do we got? OCDing hard. IMO. That is me. Your logo is going downwards. That's a very good point. Yeah, it is. Looks good to me, I think. Yeah, it does look. Okay, let's see. Substance Painter. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, here's a great example. We have shadows. The shadows are. It should bump outward. You're totally right. That is so weird. Yeah, it looks like it's bumping outward. And that should be it, because I know this text is supposed to bump outward on it. And we have the highlights. We have everything kind of catching on there. It's appearing like it's bumping outward, everything like that. The shadows should dip. If the sun is coming from the left, we should get a little. Yeah, if it's coming from the left, we should get shadows dipping down here. Highlights grabbing on the tips here. So in Cinema 4D, let's go ahead and refresh this render. Yeah, totally OCDing really hard on this. Okay, that is so close. What if I take the HDRI, that to 0? Let's just rotate. Okay, that looks about right. Now, do I have this inverted or not? I can't remember. What do I have it set for? Where's Cinema 4D in this list? Here we go. That is with no invert. So what if I do invert it? Let's take a look at that. Oh, I can't tell. Maybe that's going inward now? Yeah, because if its invert is off, yeah. Oh, no, this is correct. Yeah, because the sun is coming from the left, and we're getting some shadows to there. Well, the best place to look actually is going to be down here on the text. Whoops. Where'd it go? My middle mouse button's breaking on my mouse. I could get that fixed. Yeah, we're totally... Let's just kind of pan the light around. Feels like it's giving us a nice 3D effect. Cool tip is if we can open up our Octane settings, we can go to Camera Imager, go down to the very bottom. You can set minimum display samples at 32, and it'll just give you a cleaner render. It updates slower, but it lets you kind of more easily gauge what you're getting here. So close. So close. Dun, dun. I'm feeling pretty dang confident that that's about right. Because it's catching the bevels with the normal inverted, it catches the flat sides. Yeah. Looks good to me, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm thinking that's good. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, because if we do a hard contrast with the light, the way the light's coming in, it's catching here. So that's showing that it's sticking out. Yeah, so that's definitely, because these should be sticking out. Oh, yeah, that's totally sticking out. Because it's sticking out, creating shadows there. Something is inverted. Yeah, maybe something is. That's a really tricky... Let's see, where's a good rust spot where I know that everything should be dipping in? This was a fun one there. That was a good one. Okay, here we go. These gouges should be dipping in. I know that when I painted them. Yeah, they look like they're kind of going in. Don't they look like they're normal bumping into it? I think they are. Well, we can test by doing a rotation. Totally. Catching on the right side first. Check. And then fading away from the right side and picking in a shadow into the left. Good. Yes, that looks like it's looking pretty good. I think this is good. Yeah, and on the logo, I know that the edges are supposed to dip in and the middle is supposed to stick out. So yeah, that looks like it's totally, yeah, because if the sun, oh yeah, shadows are going in to the right, and the shadows are showing up on here, over here on this side. Yeah, so that's totally look like, yeah, scratch there, looking all good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm thinking this is definitely doing it correct, because I could open it up. and what was it? Open up our node editor, and I could take our normal and I could invert it. And if it is inverted, then it's not going to look right because then we're not getting shadows in there because that's kind of like dipping inward. So then, yeah, then we're getting reflections here because this is the inside reflecting out, which isn't going to look right. So that is correct, or that's how I designed it. I mean, it depends what you want. Yeah, the logo part's messing with my head too. It's kind of, it's weird. It's like, I always do that. Yeah, it's messing with my head too. There's so much to it. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, though, I feel like it's bouncing from the floor. Yeah, that's a good point, Jamal. That is what's got to be doing it. The upper chamfer in the Texas part is strangely darker at the top, or it's because the E is the white floor. I'm pretty sure it's the white floor. Yeah, because I could disable the floor. Oh, yep, that's what it is. Yeah, because without the floor, with the floor, we get that nice reflection sitting there, but without the floor, we don't, and we just don't get that highlight contrast on that. Interestingly enough, the floor is actually able to highlight the top of the text. Without, it doesn't. Okay, that's weird. How would the floor's lighting? Well, I guess technically speaking, the floor's reflections, it is a flat material, so there is limitations of the normal. The floor adds a lot of nice life to it. Because without, we just dip down. So let's compare that to the one in here. So we'll go to Cinema 4D. We'll stop the render. Oh, actually, before I do that, I need to go to Materials, Diffuse Material, put it on the floor. I need to put on the floor a 50% gray, because I'm pretty sure that is what they are using in Substance Painter. So we'll boot this back up. We'll do a render with 50% gray. When you export the normals, can you flip them? Yeah, so we'll do a 50% gray floor. We'll get kind of right in there on that text. Let's get a nice kind of viewing of that. There we go. So now we have a good kind of viewing of this. Check. Okay, we'll pause it. Now hop over here. Take this, bring it into iRay. iRay is going to have that gray floor on the ground, so it's a 50% gray. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a similar experience from both of them. That should do it. We'll see, though. Yeah, it's correct for sure. Okay, here we go. So here it is. This is a gray floor. It's looking... Okay, Substance Painter is doing an autosave. Not exactly a good time to be doing that, Substance Painter. Not when you should be doing that. Looking at it already, though, right now, I'm seeing very dark shadows at the bottom, lighter at the top. The opposite effect on here. Though it was just starting to calculate, so that could be... Oh, I was actually messing around moving our rotation on that, so that probably wasn't a good idea. Maybe saving finished. Boy, that is so hard to say. So, yeah, man. It's interesting how it calculates that. Those are going outwards inside Designer. Yeah, Substance Painter here, they seem to be going... Yeah, they definitely are going outwards. Inwards inside of Cinema 4D. That's a really good point. Come on, take me down. There you go. Yeah, here is a great example. We're seeing the shadows. They're being brought to the right. We're having nice shadows here. Yeah, and we're having nice dark shadows down there. How do I stop the render? What did I just say? Max samples? Like, oh, pause rendering. iRay pause. Excellent. So now we can compare this to that. So let's go ahead and boot this one back up. Yeah, you're right. Light comes from the top, so facing chamfer should be lit. Whoops, I pulled that down to the floor. Yeah, try exporting the normal map, but flipped. I agree with you on that. I think... Yeah, because right now it appears actually that the normals are dipping inward, not outward. So that is probably what the issue is. It's a really good point. Yeah, shadow should be dipping down Dipping down. What's it look like in Cinema 4D? Not dipping down. Brighter on the outside, dark on the inside. It's inverted. You're right. It's how inverting while Octane will not help. You're right, because it's not a proper invert. It's got to be an invert in Substance Painter. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Let's go ahead and close this. Bring it in Substance Painter. Turn off iRay. Let's do File, Export Textures, Configuration, PBR Metal Rough should be the workflow. PBR Metal Rough, there it is, configuration. We'll check out PBR Metal Rough. Is there anything I need to do special to invert it? Or check the normals of the mesh. That is a good question, actually. That's the best way, actually, to check it right then and there. That's actually a brilliant idea. I should have thought of that in the beginning. Just go ahead and do the videos, John's projects, and compare. Where is it? For fun, lantern, not render passes, textures. Here we go. Oh, textures for Octane test. Let's pull this open. Oh, this was the wrong one. This was a test one. Textures for lantern. Lantern arm, handle normal, lantern top, lantern base 1 normal. Okay, here's a perfect example. Maybe they inverted the vertex normals. They could have. Who knows? The UVing was not exactly the best. It was decent, though. It was decent. Not going to knock them too hard on that. So, okay, this is what it looks like here. Let's compare this inside Substance Painter. So, a quick trick we can do is do F3. And what am I previewing? I'm looking at the arm. I need a solo base 1. Here we go. And let's just preview. Oh, man, how do I view materials? I used to know this was Control M. No, it wasn't Control M. It was just plain M. It was Alt M. There's a way you can cycle through view mode. Let's go just take a look at normal. Normal plus height plus mesh. Aha. This is not what I was. Whoops. What am I moving? This is the wrong mesh. Oh, yeah, where's base 1? Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What do we got here? We're looking at that. It's not a tangent space. Well, fair enough. This is a video about texturing, not 3D objects. Oh, no, that's okay. Check normals of the mesh. It happens in C4D. Maybe invert the vertex. That is a good question. They could have. I'm feeling that you're right. They were inverted. These are totally looking like they're extending outward instead of in. So this is a total invert. I think, well, some of them were supposed to go outward. Some of them were supposed to go in too. Boy, I think you're right. The normal was inverted. So how in Substance Painter would I invert the normal on export? So blah, blah, blah. Export, configuration, PBR Metal Rough, height, normal. How would I invert that in Substance Painter? Looks the same. That's true. Maybe it is the same. This is really trippy. I'm not really sure how to confirm that. I know the tangent space normal's not showing up in here for some reason. Ambient height, mesh normals, normal. It's the mesh normal. Thickness, world space normal, good. Normal. I don't know why this normal's not showing up. I'm really not sure about that. We got the mesh normal. Yeah, man. I don't know if maybe I'm just being I'm wrong on this. Because it looks like they're extending outward. But yeah, I'm sure Well, I know that this is supposed to be bumping outward. And this is correct right here. We can see that it's extending outward. This is the spot where it's not. Yeah, so we can compare that right now, actually, in the image. If I go to videos, John's projects, for fun, lantern, textures lantern, base normal 1, that's the top. We want glass, base normal 1, zoom in. Oh, shoot, it is inverted. I can tell because he, oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. Nope. No, I'm not. Yep, it is inverted. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oops, I'm reading it wrong. Nope, it's not inverted. It looks like it. Let me find something real quick. I once read something about normal export from algorithmic apps for Octane. Unity or Unreal uses the flip normals. Yeah, Unity and Unreal do the flip normals on Y, which is weird. You know, it's probably not they're inverted. It's just the normals are flipped on Y. I think that's the issue. That's probably what you guys were saying there. I get it. I get it. That's got to be what the issue is. Okay, let's go back. Not to height. I do like that height map, though. Oh, this is a perfect example of reviewing the height. Yeah, white should be pushing out. So, yep, that should be pushing all out. Black should be pushing in. Oh, son of a gun. It's the Y. It's got to be the Y. Yep, that has got to be the issue with this right here. So there's got to be a way to export out. This should flip them. Export and OpenGL normal, not DirectX. This should flip them. Okay, perfect. So how do I do that? I go to Edit, Settings. How do I change my normal space? Normal. Combined, multiply, bake mesh. Do I have to bake my mesh? And set underneath my normal? No, there's no parameters for that. I already baked the mesh. OpenGL. Yeah, OpenGL's got to be what it is. I think I used DirectX, so that's got to been what flipped it. How do I set this to an... I know in my project settings on import, I wonder how I set that up. What's a file under... recent files, mode, project configuration, DirectX, OpenGL. There we go. Okay, perfect. That's what it was. Okay, thank you guys. It's the export prefs, I think. Okay, I think under my project settings, I have to make sure that I'm reading it as an OpenGL. Yeah, because OpenGL is what Octane runs under. Maybe I have to use one that isn't a preset. Yeah, that's true. I might have to make my own. I wonder. Let's see. We'll let it recompute this. I almost wonder if it was a project settings issue. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's going to recompute all of this. So this is good. This is important stuff. This is something that hasn't been really well documented, I feel like. So I am really, quite honestly, super excited to actually have a 1-to-1 export ratio, because there's so many YouTube videos out there promising that. And it's been a little tricky finding one that actually matches up. This is feeling so much better. Okay, I'm loving that. If we can get that look over there. So I'm just going to go to project configuration. It is OpenGL. Edit, settings. That's all good. Edit. Good. Okay, let's give her a shot. So I actually just want to go, what was it, File, Control-Shift-E. Check. I could use, I don't think there's anything customizable I can change. I could make a new custom export. Octane render. This is an Octane render one. Do I have normal? I don't think. Yeah, there's no options in here to do that. So let's just try and export out Metal PBR Rough. Do that. And I just want to export out base 1. We'll just do base 1 for now. PNG 16-bit. Where should I save it? We'll just call this stream test. Stream test. And within here, we'll select that folder. Let's do an export. Okay, guys, fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. Always try browsing through Octane forums. They got some great stuff over there. Yeah, they sure do. They absolutely do. They got some really good, pretty sweet stuff. Video output low. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Okay, that's kind of weird. Must be because I'm doing so much loading. But here we go. That should do it. So let's go ahead and close down Substance Painter, discard those changes. Yeah. And now let's compare the normals. Let's just make sure, because I'm thinking that's got to be what it was. So if I go back into here and open Stream Test and check out the normal right here, let's see what we got. Are they different? I hope so. Come on. They look very similar. I almost wonder how to flip normal direction in Substance Painter. That would be something worth looking up. Yeah, save that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Clear things out a little bit. That's a cute, good one to keep there. Okay, let's go ahead. Flip Y on Substance normal map. Flip Y on normal map. Y channel. Does anyone know if there's a way to flip the green channel? Selecting the right normal map format in the export settings via customs presets should do the trick. What result do you get that doesn't seem correct to you? The problem is, even though the project is set to OpenGL, when selecting the spec gloss metal from the export preset, it still looks like a DirectX normal map anyway. Should be able to edit the preset to get around this. Thanks. You can go into export configuration window and modify the default export preset with the OpenGL normal instead of the default DX1. Oh. That is got to be what it is. So let's go ahead, go back here, open up Substance Painter, and that is from convert maps to the normal RGB box. If this still isn't right, that's a good point. Yeah, they do look identical. That's a good point. It probably is. I could just do a conversion, which would fix it. I could run it through XNormal or something. I'm hoping to figure something out. How to get to work through here to get it export out correctly, because I'm hoping to get something. Oh, good, it's up. Okay, we'll do F2. That should pull this into here. What was it? Control. I always forget. Control Shift E. Yeah, Control Shift E. Configuration. Octane render. How does one configure these parameters? Under export settings. PBR middle rough. That's very interesting. What is this? Oh, that's a duplicate. We don't want to do that. Control Shift E. PBR middle rough. PBR rough. Roughness. Normal. Oh, I can't. I have to manually delete them. Okay. You can drag and drop from converted maps to the normal box in there. It was overridden? I think it was. I'm feeling almost like it was overridden. Oh. Hold the phone. This is the problem, guys. It just hit me. Each normal map is different. A DirectX normal map is very different from an OpenGL normal map, which you guys were telling me. And it's so different, in fact, that you actually have to have, there's two normal map types in here. We have a normal DirectX and a normal OpenGL. I have to make sure that OpenGL is the one that's imported for the normal instead of the DirectX. So we want to make sure it's OpenGL. So we have mesh texture set normal, OpenGL. I'm going to do from normal OpenGL. Oh, wait, it should be RGB channels. Right. Now we have normal OpenGL pumped into the normal area. All of those spots should select RGB when the menu pops up. Okay, perfect. I did do that. I'll make sure I do that again. Pop this in here. RGB channels. Perfect. And I don't think I can click. Yeah, that's just the default. Okay, so good. So this one, RGB channels, check, 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 check. Metallic, normal, height. Everything is good to go. So that is the proper PBR metal rough, I'm thinking. Can I reset this to default? Or this is just a default that kind of comes when installed. So that is important to make sure your normal is set to OpenGL, which it is now, which means I think I'm allowed to edit this too, right? Should stay. Yeah, normal OpenGL. Perfect. So now if I go to export, I disable all of these except for base 1. I have base 1's 4K. Set this to PBR metal rough. PBR metal rough. Check. We'll go to configuration. We're set. Let's go set this to stream again. Stream test. Select that folder. Open up stream test. Delete everything that's inside of here. Actually everything except for the normal, so we can compare and make sure that they're different. Well, it's the proper PBR for Octane at least. Yeah, right? Proper PBR for Octane. And select RGB when the menu pops up. Yep, sorted out. Nice. Yeah, I'll probably just duplicate a new workflow and then have one name for Octane. Something like, yeah, PBR Metal Rough Octane is what I can name it or something. But anyway, we'll just do export. Now, you guys are probably wondering why I'm putting so much effort into figuring this out. And the reason for this is because I have something called the Octane Master Course out. And it's a huge bunch of training for Octane Render in Cinema 4D. I'm trying to cover everything you'd ever want to know how to do with Octane Render in Cinema 4D and have it covered in this. And I want to add, because I'm constantly updating the course until all the way up for a whole year. I'm still building on it. I want to make the biggest Octane Render portfolio of stuff there is. Right now already, I have 90 videos, which adds up to over 30 hours of training, which you can see lots and lots of stuff on here. And I want to add another video to the course, along with many more, but the main one I want to add now is I want to get a Substance Painter workflow in here too, something a little bit more in depth. I want to have a whole video talking about the whole process in Substance Painter, how to export out, and that's everything that we just figured out today, guys. So thank you so much. You're really helping me kind of put this course together even better, so I really appreciate it. So, I'm going to have this in there along with a whole bunch of other stuff, all getting that, all that information kind of figured out there. So now this is good. This is really good. So now this should be, if I open stream test, did it just overwrite my old normal? I think it did. Hey, but that's looking good now. That's looking like it's bumping outward. That is looking really good. Let's go ahead and go to the old one. Yeah, textures for lantern, base 1, hide you for now, hop back over, go to test stream, open this up, and compare. So we got that one, and we got that one. So we'll zoom in on this one here. We'll zoom in on this one here. I think it was this one. Look how different they are inverted now. Finally, hallelujah. That was a good eye. I forget who mentioned that, where it said they thought they looked like it was inverted. That was a really friggin' good eye. You can see right here, we're going from this one to this one. Total flip. That is perfect. So now, in theory, if I were to bring the new proper normals in to Octane Render, we can close down Substance Painter and discard changes because there's nothing really to save. And if I open up our BRDF model. Oh, this is the floor. What am I doing? I need to open up our new here, our new workflow, and we're going to replace this normal. Actually, I'll just drag it in. We'll compare them back to back. We've got a new normal in here. Plug this normal into here, and this normal into here. And we are going to have ourselves a nice, handy-dandy, good and working. Prep yourselves, drum roll. Come on, path tracing. Oh my gosh, that is how it's supposed to look. Thank you so much for pointing that out. That is so much better. And we can see, yeah, that's so much better. Let's go ahead and let this churn a little bit. We'll let it clean up. We'll do compare, store render buffer. I'm going to switch the normals now with the bad one, the old DirectX, not OpenGL, and let's compare. And you can see sticking outward, correct. Sticking inward, incorrect. And I actually painted the scratches to stick outward because I wanted, I don't know why I painted them that way, but that's how the tutorial went. But totally correct text. Look how the text is going now. So much better. Or actually, the scratches aren't sticking outward or inward. That shouldn't have an effect. This is just inverting the way the light's hitting it. So yeah, now it's looking right. The light's hitting it upward. Light's hitting that there. So much better. So much better. Yeah, that was the left one was just weird looking with the text. Everything was off. This is good. This is so much better. Oh my gosh. Look at the it's like it's having shadows at the top and not at the bottom and then reflections on the bottom, but now the light's hitting it right there. It just looks realistic. Thank you guys so much. That is so much friggin' better. Look at that rust now. Yeah, right. The rust looks so much nicer. That the reflection in the scratches and stuff. Substance Painter is a gorgeous program. So nice. Okay, sweet. Uh-huh. For real. Yeah. The creases, all the details now looks okay. They both stick out. Yeah, everything is so much better, but it's just flipped. Yeah. That is what yeah, they're both still dipping inward, which is nice. Here's the old one. It actually made it look like it was dipping outward, but now it looks like it's actually scratching into it. So that's really, really nice. Ah, man, I like that. So much better. So take this old normal map that's junk, get rid of it, take our new normal map and plug that in. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been so educational for me just because now we finally have or I finally have at least, well, you guys will too as soon as I export it out. You guys, part of you guys already knew this, your guys helped me through this, is we finally have a good working Substance Painter workflow from Octane Render to Cinema 4D with proper normals. We now know that we must use OpenGL, not DirectX. That was a big takeaway from this stream, is we finally understand how it works. And my gosh, does this look friggin' gorgeous. Let's go ahead and pull our whole lantern in and just take a look at the whole final product now under the new system, which actually I have to re-export out all the maps because the old Lantern's maps are all wrong. I have to use the new material system. But look at that. Our nice, gorgeous lantern, good scratches, all that stuff going on. And look how the E and everything just pops out now. Now everything is fitting correctly with that. That is so much better. But why the substance preset is flipped? The only reason it's flipped is because there's two different types of normal maps to export out. You have an OpenGL normal map, and then you have a DirectX normal map. Now, DirectX is typically for games, but OpenGL is typically a normal map more for film. And because I was putting out a DirectX format, which is more meant for games, they tend to run over that format, which in Cinema 4D it's more for film, and that should have been an OpenGL, because Cinema 4D and Octane run under a OpenGL normal map system. So that is the botch up. So as long as your normal maps are being exported out as an OpenGL, you're good to go. But make sure that you're set up like that in the settings, because you actually have to drag and drop that OpenGL in there, and that will get you set up as a preset. Again, that is totally easy to set up when you export out. Literally, you can change it right now if you guys want, because it's really, yeah, it was flipped on Y. Well said, Epic J Creations. Thank you, MNIB. I appreciate that, which is why the shadows are now on the bottom. Hallelujah for that. That was just so weird. Quite honestly, that was so trippy. Like, it was giving me a headache. I was like, how does this not, like, it was just like a puzzle or something you're looking at. Like, I'm like, the shadows look kind of real, but then they don't. Normal maps have always kind of thrown me. They're just a weird thing to look at. It's very interesting. We'll wait for this to load in. But basically, the big thing, and you only have to do this once. This is the best part. As soon as you get this set up right, you're good to go. I mean, we have a really quick, slick, and nice system to go from Substance Painter to Octane Render right now. We are set to go, and I am so happy because I can't wait to teach a tutorial on this for the Octane Master Course. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be really nice. So literally all I have to do is Control-Shift-E, pop up our export system, go to PBR Metal Rough Workflow, and just make sure that right now it defaults the normal DirectX. This is for games. We want normal OpenGL. This is for film. Octane is for film, not the game one. So we'll drag our normal OpenGL to the normal slot here, drop it on top, set this to RGB channels, and now we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this PBR Metal Rough, I'm going to duplicate it. It's called copy. I'm going to rename this PBR Metal Rough underscore Octane. Now press enter. Now we have a new PBR Metal Rough workflow that's set for Octane. We have that OpenGL system set up to run for our normal here. So that's going to make things a heck of a lot easier. The old one looks terrible now. I know, right? It looks horrible compared to the new one. The new one is so much better. There was something bothering me with it, but I couldn't put my finger on it, and that's what it was. Can't stand the old one anymore now. We got the real one. I know, right? The old one was, ugh. The new one is just so much better. I'm going to have to re-render a lot of different things I was pumping out with that. I cannot believe I did not know about that flip normal. That's what was throwing everything off. This looks just like, the text really looks like it's cemented onto the side now. It actually looks like it's realistically there. It belongs there. Like, that is so much better. I made an Octane preset that I just had the maps. I needed to blend the matte workflow. You don't need specular level, for example. Yep, yeah, exactly. Hey, that's actually a really good idea. I should do that right now. Take out what I don't need. Specular. Take that one out. Don't need him. Scattering, I might need emissive height. Ambient occlusion. I like to export those maps out for the heck of it, just because I don't know why I like to have the maps, because sometimes I like to take an ambient occlusion map and I like to pull it in and run that under an emissive node and make like glowing ambient occlusion things around it. It's kind of weird, but it's also cool. I kind of like doing that. Oh, so it was not exported with the Octane export preset. It was an APR. Yep, metallic. So now that we got that, yep, now it's much more clear. Yep, yeah, now I have this PBR Metal Rough Octane export. Have you tried putting the ambient occlusion in as well? I haven't yet. I'd love to show that to you guys. Let me do that really quick. I can cancel this. It should save. Everything should save, I think. Yeah, I can discard it. My preset should save. Hopefully it does. But what I love to do is if I take my ambient occlusion, textures, lantern, color, metallic, height, roughness. Did I export out an ambient occlusion? I think I deleted them. Why would I have done that? Okay, that's not a problem. I have an ambient occlusion from the other export, so I can just go to videos, John's projects for fun, lantern, stream test, ambient occlusion, boom, here we go. Open up this, hop into here, grab this, pull over our ambient occlusion, close this down. Now, what we can do that's so friggin' awesome. I sometimes multiply the diffuse with the ambient occlusion. It's an option. Interesting. That could be worth a shot. That would be really interesting to see. Let's go ahead and grab a multiply. And blah, blah, blah. Where's multiply? Right here. Mix U, base 2, plus U to here. Run you into the specular. Run you into the diffuse. This is going to look cool. This is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Let's go ahead and refresh that render. See what we get. Loading, loading. Okay, that's cool. That is very interesting. So let's compare. Let's go to compare store render buffer. And now let's just pump in directly the raw diffuse versus the ambient occlusion. So we did multiply ambient occlusion and roughness at the same time, and we just had Octane failure. Whoops, that can happen. That's okay, though. Control-Alt-Delete, we'll pop that back out. OBS, not using much GPU right now. Very happy to see that. I don't like it when it's eating up so much GPU. Pop this back open again. It needs to be gamma 1 as well. Oh, I gotta make sure I get that gamma correct. Okay, that's what I gotta make sure I do. I should just stop closing that folder. I keep searching through it. I just need to leave it open. Yeah. Okay, lantern from C4D tutorial. Here's the old lantern. This is the old problematic lantern with the shadows all wonked out. The old weird one where the shadows are like shining from a weird angle. Yeah. Yeah, we have shadows on the top and the bottom. Really weird. Yeah, it just looks out of place. Something just looks weird with it. And that was totally what it was. But now we got this. Go down here, go back to Octane layout, hit render. There's our mix. Oops, I loaded the wrong one. This is an animation I'm actually doing for my lantern. Need to actually, I'll have to retexture this one too. Let's Control W. Octane test. This is the correct one. Let's go ahead and boot that back up. Yeah, put that away now. Render failure. Yeah, right. But let's see. Here we go. We should be good to go. Come on, render up. Okay, it did. So I'll just refresh that render. It should load in the new one. Come on. MNIB saw that. Yeah, I had a camera called WAH. Yeah, it was frustrating getting something to work. I was just like, name it quick. I'm just like, that works. But let's go ahead and do this as the default, I think. Yeah, I'll put that like right. Oh, you know what? I still have under camera imager. I still have my camera imager set to 32 samples. We don't need to do that anymore. Let's get a little bit quicker refresh. We'll save. We got this here. We'll do compare, store render buffer, open up new, open this up here. Do I still have my ambient occlusion? Oh, this is with the multiply. Okay, perfect. So now let's go ahead and do without the multiply. So we go this one and this one. And you're saying the ambient occlusion should have its gamma set to 1. So I'll check that one out too. Let's go ahead and just, wow, that's really weird. Okay, so we found a bug. Apparently every time if you have two nodes running through a multiply plugged into a blend material and you unplug the one material here and you take this material, one of the materials, and replace that in the slot with both of those multiplies run into the blend, that'll crash it consistently every time. So that's a bug. Boy, how to get around that? Okay. Let's see. How are we going to get around this? This will be easy. I'll just disconnect everything, reconnect it back in fresh. It'll be clean. Luckily, I didn't close the folder, so I can reopen Octane test instantly, and we're not going to have to wait so long on that. So this is interesting. We're learning a lot of stuff today. That is pretty cool. We're learning a lot of information. Okay, Octane layout. Pop that open one more time. There we go. Come on, load it up. And we are good to go. Apparently it is. Sometimes it fixes itself somehow. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll boot this up. Open this up. Close this one. Let that load. Don't do anything until it gets a chance to sit. Okay. So you said set this to a gamma of 1. I should give that a shot too. Okay, got a good gamma of 1 for that. I'm going to go to compare store render buffer. Stop Octane, then reconnect it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Apparently the store render buffer is what's killing it. I was jumping the gun on that. I was saying that the issue was that, but I can't actually store a render buffer. Wow, that's kind of a bummer. And Octane just locked up again. Okay, so this is unusual. Octane normally doesn't behave like this. I will say that. This is not the best representation of Octane's quality. It's normally a lot more stable than this. Sometimes it can be a little trouble, but it's normally much more stable than this. Let's see. Disconnecting high-res textures with live viewer on sometimes crashes the software. Yeah, I'm not treating Octane very nice either, so that's what's probably happening. And I believe I exported out. The big issue here, guys, is I was a little overzealous in my wanting for high-res textures, so I exported all the textures on the lantern here, all of these in 8K. So what we have, blame it on Windows 10. Yeah, I'll do that. I have all these are 8K textures, I believe, that are loaded in to a bunch of mixed textures. So I have all these textures in a bunch of different areas. So I'm really running Octane pretty hard here. What we have is we have mixed texture, mixed texture, mixed texture, mixed texture, and another mixed texture, all running to the 4 different points on this, or 5 different points on this lantern, all with 4+ 8K textures in each one, and all are different. So that's going to do it. Yeah, pause the live viewer, then switch. So let's go ahead, open this up. We have everything nice and set. I'm going to go ahead and set this. Whoops, where did it go? Here's our multiply. Set our gamma to 1. We're going to get a refresh on our lantern in here, hopefully. I don't know why that turned blue. Still render failure. I think it's not liking. Can I close this? Reopen? Let's close this. Close this. Relaunch. Check your VRAM usage. Yeah, that's a good question. I might be, that's probably a good point. It's probably too much VRAM. That's a really good point, actually. It's probably, what's probably killing it? It's yeah. Oh, I didn't pause it either. Yeah, that's another thing that probably crashed it. I need to keep that paused. I'm willing to bet it's probably the VRAM usage. Let's see. Boot this up again. Let's see how much VRAM I'm using, because I know I have a 4 gig limit, and I'm pretty sure with these 8K textures I'm over hitting that. Plus, I went into my settings, and I went and set my parallel samples to, I think, max. Oh, no, they're at 8. Okay, so that should be fine. Oh, shoot, we're down at 900 megabytes. No wonder it was doing that. Yeah, we are running bare bones. So with the full lantern, we were really running out of space, and that extra texture probably was just flat out killing it. So I'd be willing to bet we should be able to adjust things now without it crashing. If it does, I'll probably have to make sure, like I do what you say, and just pause the render and then change it. Maybe try stripping the scene down, just have the base. Yeah, textures are 4K at that size. This happens. Yeah, or actually my textures are even higher than 4K. My textures are 8K. I just exported these out at 4K. Everything else on all the other lanterns are 8K, which is probably something I shouldn't have done because I wanted extra high res for some reason. Okay, yep, now it's working. It was just that. So we'll set this to 1. We'll save just in case. Now, compare, store render buffer. It worked. We're good. Now we're going to do another thing. Log. Any plans on upgrading your machines? Are you waiting for the RTX cards? I am actually. I really want to upgrade my machine, not to the RTX card, just because they're a little pricey. I want to upgrade my machine to take my 970 and raise that up to use the blah 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 1080 Ti. So the 1000, and I'm saying that too, is a big thing. The 1080 series is going to drop down in price a lot. Yeah, my PC is entering in a coma. Yeah, a lot is going on it. So I really want to upgrade to a 1080 Ti, replace that 970 with that once I get the once the RTX cards come out and the price starts to drop a bit more. They already are dropping, but I'm hoping they're going to drop a bit more. But anyway, let's go ahead and take this one, plug this into specular. Don't crash. It hasn't. Good. Plug this into diffuse. It didn't. Okay, good. Everything's running great. It was just too much VRAM going on there. Whoops. I need to keep this in the same position. So let's go ahead and compare. Very interesting. When you multiply the color with the ambient occlusion, it does add a bit more contrast to it. I do like that. Look how we get some more contrast here around the base, around the rims there. That is pretty sweet. I like that. I really like that. That was a good idea. I forget who mentioned that, but that's a really good point. Yeah, good point. Still rock that stuff. I got dual 1080 Ti's. Nice, Jamal. That's the way to do it. They've dropped in price by a lot. Yeah, already they've dropped down in price, which has me tempted. Call me crazy, but I'm actually looking to spend about 350 bucks for a 1080 Ti. I'm probably going to do Craigslist deals or something. I know that's a pretty dang cheap price to ask for a 1080 Ti, but I'm willing to wait and cheap out kind of and see if that happens. Running two Titan EXPs over here. Nice MNIB. Nice. Yeah, man, yummy. That is friggin' sweet. That is one powerhouse build. Yeah, look for better. Looks better. Nice tip. Yeah, definitely really good tip. I like the ambient occlusion mixed with that there. That adds just a little bit more contrast on it. That's a really good idea. Another cool thing that we can do, I'm gonna keep the render running. I don't think it'll crash. Is what I love to do is I love to take, let's keep the ambient occlusion going in with this, just in the multiply, because I'm really liking that look. But what we're also going to do is we're going to take this ambient occlusion, I'm going to add a third slot on here, and in slot 3, we're going to add new material, and I think our Uber shader should just mix this in very nicely, is if I take our ambient occlusion, I'm going to duplicate him because I want to have a little bit more control over him, pump him into our mount, take this one, change him to diffuse, and go into here, grab a black body emission, take our black body emission, plug that into here, set our shader type to, say something about that, and have our brightness set to 1500, hop over here, see what we got, everything's looking good, crank up the gamma on our ambient occlusion, and I think I need to invert it. Yes, I did need to invert it, and I'll pull that way back. Okay, and then with that pulled way back, I can take the brightness on my black body emission. Yeah, drop that down to something like 1. Okay, sweet. And literally, I just like creating like this ringed look. Compare, enable render buffer off. I like to create like this effect where you have like this, like in the cracks, it's glowing. I don't know why, but I'm a fan of this art style, and it's freaking cool. So with our ambient occlusion like that, mixed through, so what I did is I just made another input for our Uber shader, or blend. I keep calling it Uber, but they changed its name to blend. Put that 3, mixed my amount, took my ambient occlusion and had to invert it, because if it wasn't inverted, it'll just pump out the color everywhere, even with the contrast up. It's basically taking away, putting color everywhere else except there. So I want the opposite. So I'll invert that, pull back our gamma, make it really dark and tight. And that is literally giving us this cool effect here, which another thing is I could just set this to 2.2, and then I could run this thing under a color correction node, color correction, drop that on the line there, take our color correction node, take our contrast, ooh, and crank that up. I'm liking that. Yeah, get some good contrast there. And that is pretty friggin' sweet. And if I take our gamma now, ambient gradient multiply. Yeah, ambient occlusion gradient and multiply. That's a good one. You can tile it in with a gradient node too. Oh, shoot. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, MN, wish I got mine for 350. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get one for 350 either, but I'm going to see what can happen. Yeah, you're actually right. A gradient would be better. Yeah, I should just use a gradient instead of this, actually. Yeah, let's set this down to, say, 1 or 0.1. Yeah, we'll set this down to actually, let's go to 0.5 and then run that through a gradient. I totally agree. That would be a way better way of mixing this. Grab the gradient, actually, let's just do a flat out gamma of 2.2. We'll get plenty of control in the gradient. I don't even know what I was thinking doing the other way. And then literally just dial this back. Give some nice contrasts. Oh yeah, that was a good call. Loving that. I'm a big fan of this art style. I don't know why, but I really, really like that. If I pull this back a little bit more, we can get some pretty cool friggin' looks out of it. Pull this up a little bit more. Pull the white in. We could make it really intense and contrast. You know, we got all these little glowing spots all on it. Now we're really overblowing here, though, so I want to pull that white back down to the bottom. And you know what's really cool is I can actually add, pull the white over, copy the black, and put a black in on here, and then we can link in, like, different areas. It's only certain parts the ambient occlusion will shine, other parts won't. Other parts will. Pull the black back a little bit more. Pull this over here. pull this out. Maybe give myself a little bit more white. Maybe adjusting the gamma here back down to something like 1. Allowing myself to open up on here more would be nice. Yeah, that is selling it. A little bit more. Loving that. There we go. So now we're getting a little bit of glow. Way too much over there. But you guys get the idea anyway. There's some crazy stuff that you can do with this. I'm actually going to get rid of the black. Pull this over. Up this tighter. Take our gamma here. Up this to like really bright on 8. And then I can just really crush it. Yeah, I'll just crush it here. And then just adjust it by expanding. Now you can also do the same thing with a dirt node, which actually in this case might just be better. But ambient occlusion is like a quick, easy hack to do it quicker without having to rely on a dirt node. And then I can just literally adjust our gamma to adjust the effect. And this is all animatable, so that's pretty cool too. Upper gamma, gamma, gamma. And the gradient's actually killing that off. So if I up our gamma, down, down, down. Or I literally could just pump it in here, then take our contrast and just slam these both together after I drop the gamma, which should not be too low. Right about, I'm trying to keep that bass in there. Yeah, perfect. So we got a lot going on in the bass, way too much overblown here, but yeah, you guys get the picture. It's kind of a cool little effect. And the weird part is I could take this anywhere. You could mix this with anything. You can mix this with white. You can mix this with a metallic. So now it's like this shiny metal effect that we're getting that's like rust kind of eating away at it. And you can just, now we can take this beyond what Substance Painter had. And we're using our ambient occlusion to generate like a really shiny metal material, but then it's getting completely eaten away by the rust, and it's totally being adjusted now by the ambient occlusion map, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of friggin' power. You can animate that. You could say we have a nice clean lantern as it's being eaten away then by the rust. So it slowly kind of grows over it. Like there's tons and tons of stuff you could do. And in fact, if we're going to do this, I almost want to uninvert it. So it's back to 2.2. And now on the grimy areas here, I want to pull this back and this one back. So now we eat to the rust in the center. So as we get closer to the center of these cracks, this is where the rust is kind of eaten in. Which I could pull this up with our gamma. And now we got this like kind of a really intense rust. Or I could eat it away and have the opposite effect. We'll say the rust is eating in onto it except where there's gamma. Or except where there's ambient occlusion. Yep, R20s, those are pretty much the best thing ever. Yeah, infinite possibilities. Lava looking, cool. Oh, I haven't looked in chat in a while. A bit overheated lamp. Yeah, I know, right? Straight out of Tin Chernobyl. LOL. Yeah, right. Lava looking cool. Changing the color of the knots helps too. Oh, that's a good point. Infinite possibilities. That is the truth. Those are pretty much the best thing ever. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm glad most people will be somewhat forced to switch in with R20. I know, right? That'll be very interesting. It's awesome that R20 now has nodes. I'm so happy that they finally moved up to have that. Can't wait for the time all third-party renderers switch. I know, right? I can't wait till like just nodes are the thing. Nodes are totally the future. I just got a really cool idea actually. What if we just took this one instead of making it a metallic? Set it to a specular, and I took our gradient and I upped the contrast on that a lot. Whoops, and you guys can't see what I'm doing. It's on my other monitor, but if I up the contrast, this will be really weird looking. And then if I go to here, I could up our gamma. That is friggin' weird. It's really weird, and it looks like it's like growing. It's like going from this to water or something. It literally just looks like, that is a really interesting transition. It's just like, bloop. It actually works really well, surprisingly. I'm actually shocked that that works so well like that. That is pretty cool. Not gonna lie, I like that. That's a pretty daggum cool effect. Don't know how accessible it is with the R20 SDK though. That's a good point. I'm really not sure how accessible that would be. Oh, Now what I could do is I could literally, I will ramble on with this stuff forever. I could literally take a scattering medium, plug the scattering medium into the medium slot, slug this into the emission slot, and now we'll be emitting light from the scattering medium. Oh man, there's so many possibilities. And now we're emitting light from the transparent glass. So many things to do, so many possibilities. Pull back down the absorption distance, let them see through it a little bit. Yeah, this is so crazy. I got like this warm, light-looking thing. Totally want to throw some roughness onto this at 0.02. But now we got too much bright lights. We'll drop this down to a value of like, say, 3. It's just so crazy what you can do. Octane is awesome. I will mess around with this stuff forever. I am so glad we got this workflow figured out, guys. Thank you so much for the help. I really appreciate it. And this isn't even a good model, how it's built. Like, it could be way better. Like, this is not solid. But it's totally working. This is, like, totally working well. Is this cheesed out, too? Yeah, they went low poly. This is game art, so it had to be low poly. But that said, it was horribly modeled. I'm not gonna... I don't mean to pick on the guy who ever modeled this, but it... Pretty sure they used a bool for everything. As you can see, those polys are bad. But that said, it looks freaking good considering. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's freaking cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. This stream is now 3 hours in. So sorry for yawning. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. We got a lot of work done. This was friggin' sweet. So I'm going to try and figure out how to get this system set up to work in the cloud with, not the cloud, with the Octane Live DB. We'll set this down to 2. So we literally got a working system. So to simplify things, I'll just remove the ambient occlusion, close this out, and pump the diffuse into the diffuse down here. And that should clean it up. So this is literally our working system we have right here. We have totally everything raring to go. Everything is working good. Everything is looking fine. And the normals are rendered correctly. So we have an entire new system all ready to go. So for anybody who's following along and just got here, what we have down is we export out a metallic, a diffuse, a normal, and a roughness map from Substance Painter, making sure that the normal map is exported out with an OpenGL, not a DirectX. And then finally, we simply plug these 4 material mats into our Substance Material 1 and Material 2, mixed together with our blend material, and we invert, make sure that we invert our glossy metallic material up here, our metallic import, sorry, we need a metallic output, not a glossy. Invert that through here, and we're good to go. Make sure as well that under your diffuse you have it set to black. We have our sheen set to 0.2 on roughness, and of course we want to make sure that this is set to a GGX BDRF model with our material set to metallic for the top one. Our index of the refraction mode is set to artistic, and for the second material you want to make sure that this is also set to GGX, but it's a glossy material. And for this, our index needs to be 1.5. At this point, that is the complete full setup, and it's good to run. Is a GPU. A new version of Arnold is released for R20. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, really? Is a GPU? Not sure. C4D 2A version 2.4 Max 1 series has been released with support for C4D R20 along with R20 multi-instances, volume loader, volume builder, as well as other enhancements and bug fixes, not to mention of GPU version. Arnold will be going GPU soon. They mentioned it numerous times now, but they demoed it working version at SIGGRAPH, and yeah, so that'll be interesting. Shouldn't be long. I'm very interested to see how the GPU version of Arnold works, how well it holds up to Octane, and how many features it's going to come with. I know Arnold is super feature rich, but I'm pretty certain that it's not going to come with all the features once they port over to GPU. It probably will take a little bit of time to get everything over, but it'll definitely be a game changer. I love Octane, big fan of it. Arnold's going to have to do a lot to pull me over, mainly because it's $1,200 for a license, and for every render node, it's like $800 for a render node. Whereas with Octane version 4, when it's coming out, you're going to be able to buy the full shebang plus plugins for $600, and you can have up to 2 GPUs in a computer as a render node for free. So you basically get free render nodes, unlimited, as long as each node has only 2 GPUs. And if you want to go higher, then it's like only $300 per node. So it's a heck of a lot cheaper. But that said, I might move to Arnold. Who knows? I'm not going to rule it out. I'm just saying that they're going to have to offer a pretty big improvement to get me to move over. They're going to have to really make me be like, wow, I have got to go to Arnold. Especially with Octane version 4.0 coming out with some pretty robust changes on the way. But at this point, guys, the stream is over 3 hours long. Thank you guys for hanging in and chatting and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If anybody is interested in more Octane training and tutorials, check out my Octane Master Course. You can go to my website at epicjcreations.com, and then you can simply click Octane Master Course, or you can check out the link that I'm about to link now, or check out the link in the description of this video where you can check out the Octane Master Course, which is made up of 90 videos and over 30 hours of training with more content coming on the way. Tons more content just constantly coming out. I'm constantly thinking of new ideas and stuff. That's what this whole stream was about, figuring out more stuff that I could add to the course. I already have some testimonials, my previous teaching experience. I did a job for Maxon at Cineversity. Testimonials from my YouTube page are on here. Examples of my work can be found, and I'm going to keep constantly putting out more content for this course all the way till August 15th, 2019. So that's a year away, a year of updates and content, including full updates for Octane version 4.0 when it comes out officially for Cinema 4D stable. But Octane is great, but you can run into issues in production. That is the truth. You absolutely can. So that's why I made the Octane Master Course, to kind of help fix some of those potential issues that you can run into. That said, Octane is not Arnold. It's not quite like Arnold as far as stability and some other things. But that said, it is pulling ahead. The gaps between Arnold and Octane are being closed closer and closer every single day. Thanks for streaming, dude. It was fun problem solving that whole thing with everyone. It sure was. Thank you guys for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the stream, says MNIB. Also says Jamal. And yeah, really great, great time hanging out with you guys. Really appreciate it. But thanks again, everybody, and I can't wait to see you all in the next stream. I don't have a streaming schedule set up yet, but I will on my website soon, and you'll be able to click that. You'll be able to watch the stream on my website. I won't have the chat embedded into my website, but you will be able to like watch it, and I'll have a stream schedule and stuff all linked on there as well. If you have any questions or you missed something in the video you want to check out, everything that's been shown is going to be recorded. So it takes about an hour after the stream's ended for it to be fully saved and uploaded, but it should be, it will be saved, and it'll be on my YouTube page for you to be able to check out later on. So thank you guys so much for watching again. Really do appreciate all the help. You've helped so much. Really do appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next stream. See y'all later.